On the back straightaway into turn number 3, thick thin, still 3 wide, Brandon Feeney, high, wide, and handsome. He's going to go to the outside and get past Camillo.
I don't mean to be two birds and bees with you folks, but this is how cautions are born.
All right, welcome to episode number 63 of the Feeney Call. Tonight's guest will be the one and only John Baker Jr., also known as JBJ. Multi-time champion, won more features than I've been to races. All-around good guy. He's great at helping people get into sports and classes, helping them out, set cars up, making them faster, so he gets to go faster himself. Helped me out a bunch. He's actually supposed to originally be guest number 1 on the podcast, but we were all just super busy, and when I was getting the podcast going, I was trying to get it on a roll, and just schedules didn't work out. So oddly enough, he makes episode number 63 for tonight's appearance. So we're doing a little race recap. I didn't go to any racetracks this weekend, but I did go to a couple derbies as I was working them. It's kind of cool to get more involved in different kinds of motorsports and stuff, and helped with tech and flagging at Mohawk and Brampton fairs with Impact Motorsports, and I can tell you it's a riot. It's fun to see how drivers try to push the gray areas and finding it on them and stuff like that, where they might not want you to. Us drivers, our responsibility is to push the rules as far as we can. And tech's is to find it. And tech doesn't find it, you win. If tech finds it, they win. Now, this is talking about gray areas. If you're just like full out something that says blatantly in the rules you're not allowed to have it, and it specifies like parts, even part numbers, etc., then you're just cheating. You're not taking advantage of a gray area, etc. But yeah, people will still do it. And sometimes people will do it and not know about doing it. But anyway, so when this comes out, we're actually going to be at Lindsay Fair doing the demo cross on Friday night. We got Fall Velocity this weekend at Sunset Speedway, and I think the Pumpkin Smasher at Delaware Speedway on Saturday. So yeah, make sure you go out. And I think Flamborough is still running their normal points night as well. I'm not sure about any other tracks. If you are watching this and you know about other tracks running, feel free to tag them. I'm not trying to not include them or stuff like that. Next week is the end of our Ladies of Motorsports podcast giveaway with the hat sales and etc. So right now, as of recording this, the Howard sisters are in the lead over Paige Stevenson. They're almost at 200 views. Obviously, I can't wait to see who actually wins, and someone's going to be getting a decent chunk of a change, or they could be splitting it 5 ways. That's up to the winner's discretion. So we'll see if these ladies want to take the money and run, or if they're going to split it 5 ways. So yeah, if you're not into racing and you watch this podcast, bunch of derbies this weekend. Lindsay Wainfleet, I know, with Impact Motorsports. I know other companies are running them. I don't have their schedules memorized. I'm sorry, but once again, if you want to tag the derbies or rally or any kind of motorsports you want to tag in the comments, Just comment when they're happening, stuff like that, and get people out to the events. So just trying to think here. October 6th, I am racing with BT Racing at Flamborough during Frostfest, chasing an igloo. Chris Lawrence is putting me in one of his cars, something that I used to race back in 2014. Basically almost the same exact car. But we're gonna try some things and see if we can make the field. We're not getting in Chris's like top fastest piece of car. We're trying to try something out and work with it. And hopefully I can be a good test driver and remember how I used to wheel these things around. But I make no promises, Chris. But we're running a promotion where if you want to be on the hood of Chris's car that I'm racing, it's $25 and you can get up to a 6x6 sticker put on the hood from the time me and Chris basically see each other, or you see Chris and hand him a sticker. He'll put the sticker on that night if you've handed him money. So it's basically you get a little bit of advertisement for your business podcast, or even if you just want to put a funny sticker on the hood, as long as it's family appropriate. If there are any inappropriate stickers, I'm not sure if Chris will put them on the bottom of the car, like the oil pan or et cetera, et cetera. That's up to Chris. But any sticker. So if you want to put a happy face on there, and that's your happy face, like I said, what we're doing is we're trying to raise money for the backpack drivers, like the B main drivers and stuff like that. So you get more money just to basically show up, and it covers like your tow money and stuff like that, and just helps out the pure stock field down there, or bone stocks, whatever they call them. I'm not sure what they call them down there, but yeah, like I said. And then I still have a few Ladies of Motorsports hats left. If they're not sold by next Friday, that money will not be added to the pot that the ladies will see. Just because I'm not gonna every time I sell hats send any transfer to somebody. A couple of ladies have been helping me sell the hats. Couple, I don't know if they have or not, because I don't get told who's buying hats from whom and stuff like that. I just get told somebody wants a hat. But yeah, without further ado, we're gonna bring on the one and only John Baker Jr. And as he just messaged me on Facebook. So we're gonna invite him in, and we're gonna shoot the crap, and we're gonna try to get into some gray areas and definitely some orange areas, because John, it's all about the orange. All right, we have the one and only John Baker Jr. joining us here tonight. How are you doing today, John?
I'm spectacular, except I'm technologically challenged and something came up on my screen. There we go. We're good. I'm doing awesome. Totally excited to be here. I got a hollow promise about 62 episodes ago that this was going to happen one day and you were going to make me episode number 1. But I was kind of special. You ended up waiting to make me episode number 3. Unfortunately, now the pressure's on because everybody else you had on here did a great job. So now I can't suck. So you kind of put me on the spot.
Well, you're episode number 63.
Yeah.
So
that's 62 more than the original plan. But anyway.
Well, to be fair, though, we were going to have Cheryl as the number 1 guest, and you were just going to kind of be with her.
True enough.
So
she gets shy pretty quick. So, mind you, I normally tell everybody she's the loud and outgoing one of the bunch, and I'm the shy one. So that's kind of, whether that's true or not, that's kind of how I look at it.
I think most people that are watching this that have met you before, I think realize that you are not shy, especially at the racetrack.
Well, when you're having fun, right?
Exactly. A bad day at the racetrack's better than a good day at home.
Oh yeah, better than a great day at work.
Exactly. So I was mentioning in the intro here before I brought you on about how you like to help other racers improve, not only like get the cars faster, but like help teach safety and stuff like that. Did you get that from like your dad, or was that like another racer that kind of got you into that momentum, or is that just how'd you get into doing that kind of stuff?
I'm going to credit that to my father and also to all the guys that raced at Barrie Speedway when I was a kid, and the original Westgate. Not that I'm saying anything about the guys now, but when I was young and impressionable, it was quite nice to see all these guys go out and run, door handle, lap after lap, and whatever divisions they were. And then after everybody cleared tech and everybody was at who knows whose trailer, all enjoying themselves, hanging out, and like myself could hang out with a bunch of the other guys now growing up like me, and we're all racing our own cars and doing our own thing. But it was really nice to see the family after racing atmosphere, and you go out and you run the heck out of the guy beside you, and with enough respect that when the night's over, you can still go, chew the guff and enjoy yourself and have some fun. So I would say my father mainly taught me, racetrack presence, and, just, you're going to do this, do it right, be nice, have some fun, figure out what you need to do to get the enjoyment you want out of it. But then also the group of people that my father raced against that helped him do the same thing. So I'm going to go all the way back to the old Westgate and Old Barrie Speedway guys.
And the old Mosport, I'm assuming, as well.
Yeah, true as well. And also Mosport. But Mosport came into the picture a lot after for me personally.
So you've raced at a lot of different tracks. You've been successful, I think, at most of them. I know for a fact that Kawartha, when I first met you, you were kind of just the dominant Thunder car around there. Same as Peterborough. And there was a few times you went traveling and stuff with that Thunder car and people just didn't like it. Was it just because you were fast, or was it just like people are afraid to race like the JBJ, or is it just like,
I don't know. I don't know. I can't speak for other people, but what I can say is that the relationships that I built way back as a kid, like 3 to 10 to 15 years old, are still great relationships. I do not have all the success strictly on myself and my own thoughts. I have friends that were raced at all kinds of different racetracks. So if I was going to go to a track I'd never been to before, I just get a hold of one of my friends or acquaintance, friend, racetrack friend, however you word it, that has run there before, and get a little bit of information so that I'm not going to the racetrack cold. So I could turn up at a track I've never been to and already, be in a basic ballpark for stagger. And if it was one of those tracks that you need to take, in the leaf sprint cars, you got to take all the crossweight out of them or crank the crossweight to it, like make it bounce the left front tire or something weird. I kind of would get a heads up from one of the guys going into it. So then you could turn up at the racetrack and be more prepared for that first practice where you're trying to just figure out how to drive around the track and follow anybody you can, but at least be more in the ballpark. So I would say just good. It comes back to what we just said already, the sportsmanship part of it. Good sportsmanship, good other people helping me out. So that's what I think anyway. And then, we traveled a bunch and had pretty good success traveling. Always had a ball, always left happy. So that's part of the game.
Yeah. When I first got into racing myself, the amount of times I'd watch people watch you roll in, be like, all right, we're fighting for second tonight with that black and orange Thunder car. And I seen it before you sold it. And
yeah.
And it was a lot of people don't realize that was an automatic car.
Yeah, because I didn't fit to get in and out of it in the trailer, so I left it in automatic so Brock could drive it in the trailer for me, because he was just a kid and he'd fire it up and run the car in the trailer, and it had to be automatic to be able to load it and unload it. So yeah, that was pretty good. And it also had the single master cylinder and all that stuff, which made it run at, I think at the time, like 200 pounds lighter than everybody else, because I had, not nearly as good of brakes, but just don't push them as hard. And the automatic transmission, whatever, everybody got to run a good torque converter. So you just run whatever the spec converter was. I think a motorhome one at the time, and you run that torque converter and away you go. Worked pretty good.
Do you think with the way the super stock class has evolved from Thunder cars, that car could still be competitive today if like the right person was working on it?
Well, nobody's ever going to know. It went to scrap 2 weeks ago. I literally was at a wedding on the weekend and found that car. They picked it up from where it was being stored and realized that I guess the bottom of the frame rails have been sitting on the metal C-can too long and rotted the rails at the bottom of it. So she's gone now, but I don't know. It may have worked, maybe not. I still have all the jigs. If I wanted to build another one, I can make one to match. So there's always that potential there. But the cost of the Thunder car thing is more than I can bear at this point. So I don't think that Thunder car on asphalt is in my future.
I like how you word on asphalt, because you have gone and played on the dirt with, your old modifieds and stuff before. Sometimes on the wrong tires for the feature. we've got to talk a lot of different stories, whether it be shooting the crap at the track or racing RC cars or just literally working. Like if I bring my car over, be like, well, if you did this, I'm just saying it works on dirt, but it doesn't work here.
Yeah, that'd be my favorite story for my first ever modified I made. I don't remember what year it was. I've been doing this a long time. A guy I met at a party on the weekend told me that when he was 5 years old and he went to Mosport, which was 10 years into my career, how amazing it was to watch me around then. And then the fact that he got to actually meet me at this wedding that I was at, and I was not happy because he called me the oldest guy in the place. So, but anyway, so I've been doing this for a while, and Wing, and I'm not upset, buddy, but you did make me feel old. But I built that modified car and I struggled with it, and had a whole bunch of good ideas and input from a bunch of people, and I really was frustrated with that car. And then I built a couple of items in that car more dirt style. So the challenge came out on that one was to take it to the dirt and see how it ran. And it ran way too good on the dirt. So before the last night of racing, I brought it home and I cut the rear clip off it and completely remade the rear clip, not the way that my brain thought it should be, and back to more of the asphalt style. And went out with it and actually managed to score a feature victory against White Brown, probably one of the toughest competitors I've ever raced in my life. So that was that's a highlight moment in my career. And I do traditionally like to go with kind of the dirt track thing. I like that sort of feel like you're driving a pickup truck, everything kind of jiggle jaggling around and the car leans a bit and stuff. So that's why I've always sort of steered to the dirt thing. But this year we're trying to get our ducks rode up to maybe go do something different at this point, depending on the sponsorship and stuff. We're going to jump back in the modified car. But if the sponsors are cool with it, then we may venture somewhere else, try something different.
I could only picture, that bright orange and black and white car, but as like a Thunderstock at the top of a Schwingen.
Wouldn't that be cool?
That track looks fun, and it looks like it would suit somebody like you. Because I've always said, if you were if your mind said you could be a rocket scientist instead of a race car driver and builder, we would have rockets already at Mars.
Thanks for the compliment. Yeah, no, I watch some guys on TV every Sunday night after whatever we're doing, and the Friday night shows, and impressive. The driving, the car control, like all the guys through the field, not just the guys that finish top five. All the guys, just unreal. It's quite the show.
So. And like I said, Oshwegan seems to have a very good track almost week in, week out. Like dirt tracks are going to have bumps and stuff like that, which you'll never get a smooth track from start to finish. If you do, hire that guy to prep every track in the world.
Yeah.
But with the way your brain works at the racetrack, I think dirt racing would be fun for you because it would be constantly good and bad, but it'd be building that whole new notebook that you need to have like in your head.
Yeah, I'm getting older every day, so it's maybe time to try whatever I want to try before I get too old. So just a quick one back on the Thunder car Mosport era, because that was the metric car was pretty impressive. I kind of cheated the system on that car a little teeny bit, or maybe more than a little teeny bit when that car was built. So I knew that staying at Peterborough wasn't in the future, just by logistically stuff that was going on and whatever. So I teamed up with Dave Bishop and Doug Wills and used both of their cars as guinea pigs for the entire year before. So any spring combos I want to try, both the guys were willing to try anything, give good positive feedback. Both their cars ended up quite different in setup, yet they could finish quite close to each other. And then when I bought Fricker's car that was smashed, I bought that car and then turned it into a race car. Well, you participated in some of that, but when that went down, the notebook that we were working off of putting that car all back together was a combination of notes between Doug's car and Dave's car, ride height, etc., front end geometry, stuff that we couldn't change and whatever. So, and even as far as the wheels that we were put on the car for sizing stuff up, they were bored right off of Doug's car. So that car actually went to the track with 2 years of multiple weekend testing setups and stuff in the car, and also a tuning guide, because we'd pre-made Doug's notebook that he had made for his notes and Dave's notebook for his notes turned us into a metric car tuning guide, because I'd never had my own metric car. So I kind of cheated the whole group with that one because I had 2 years practice, just wasn't at the track. So anyway, that'd be the funniest part of that particular Mosport Reign of Terror car.
That was the Mosport a metric car that you liked a lot, that you have the picture that you cry about, right?
Yeah, I'm a pretty tough dude, but there's a picture of me standing there looking at my race car that I screwed up and stuck in the hole in the wall at Mosport Speedway, and I'd be lying if I didn't tell you there was tears under that helmet, and that's why I couldn't pull it off. That was definitely a sad moment, and I own that whole screw up. That was 100% John Baker Jr. I stuck it to the guy on the outside and thought I had a little more than I had and didn't have it, and yeah, no, that was all me. That was bad.
You didn't do it again.
No, that's right. I learned from that mistake. Let me tell you, holy jeepers.
That one was expensive, but you learned.
Yeah, no, and then I ended up with Kelly Amanda. I ended up they helped me out with a chassis they had at the house, and then we worked forward from there. And that car was fun, which turned into the probably even faster than the original one. But yeah, that was the last car that we ran. It actually came out of their stables.
So what would you see? Because you've seen my car last year, which was a current metric car in the super stock division.
Mm-hmm.
So did you see ideas what you could do with, like, obviously that car, from like ideas that automatically started rolling to back to that metric car that you already spent 2 years developing?
Yeah, can we put names on who your car came from and stuff? Is that cool?
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Yeah, no, okay. So Walter's beautiful fabricator, and look at that car. That thing's gorgeous. Like there was a lot of really nice stuff I saw in that car. Just small brackets and just like, well, they're not really small things, but just the way stuff was put together and designed to just, better, meaner, faster, lighter. That was a gorgeous car that you had. I quite enjoyed when we worked on that and scaled it a bit and stuff, just to check things out. It was nice, and there's definitely a few things I could steal off of that. And like I said, I already said some of the stuff. Like that was a very nice piece of equipment. But he's always built very nice pieces of equipment and had stuff that was nice, and that's kind of his thing too, right?
Yeah. I laugh. The only reason I bring that up is because I laugh when we're sitting there scaling the car after I was having issues with it last year, where it was just evil on the retreads. And I found out the problem after Herb Walters bought that car. We figured out what the problem was then, but you're sitting there looking, I'd be like, that's different for a metric car. Like, those are not the springs I would normally choose, but that explains, like, you're looking at things and like, oh, we're doing this and we're doing this, and that's how this is working. I'm like, just the way you process how things work that quickly. And it's like, it's amazing to watch. Like, and this is why I want to bring it up, because, like,
yeah,
I feel like if you ever decided that you wanted to retire from driving, I feel like you could actually, like, have a setup shop and stuff like that, because you have a wide basis of people that you basically rely on you, like me, that if I'm stuck, I'm like, I'm lost. I don't know what the hell's gone wrong. I'm like, oh, you're a dumbass. This is like 17 rounds of bar. That's way too much.
Well, it doesn't end with me though, because I have a bunch of friends I draw off of for advice and help too. So it's I don't know. So in my opinion, if you're not passing something on to somebody else, then you're not fulfilling what you should be doing as a stock car racer. If you're just going to the track and driving your car and not worrying about anybody around you, you're just a driver. You're not actually a racer, because a racer wants competition. A racer wants the younger, newer people of sport, whatever word you want to use. They want to see people develop. And even if it's a guy in your own division, you want to see him develop. And this year in particular, we got one guy, the first night of racing, he's a couple laps down in the feature. Last feature, he was on the lead lap, and it went green to checkered. I mean, I was tickled pink about my finish. I had a great run and really excited for his finish as well. And I made sure I told him I was proud of him. I thought he was doing a great job. So, because in my opinion, if you don't build up rookies and people learning and stuff, then they're going to go away. Then who do we got to play with? Nobody.
Exactly. And like, I see a few people, they talk about the junior lights and stuff at Peterborough, about like them running too long. I'm like, but this is the future of our sport. If we don't let them race now, we won't have somebody building up the bone stock division, which then builds the mini stock division, the super stock. Like, you have to get the kids into it young. Like, I know, like, the junior lights and stuff like that, and I know, like, the Baker rule is 18. but like, you need to have the interest in the sport to keep it growing, so we don't kind of like fizzle out, right?
I agree with that, and I would love the opportunity to work over a junior late model with somebody. What I and work over be the word I'd use. I think that opportunity would be wild. That being said, I think that they need to come up with a few. So first of all, yes, okay, I was one of the people that did complain on. I don't remember what night it was. I'm 390 pounds, and that's only because I'm trying real hard to be skinny, fat guy. And I ended up sat in my car, lined up, helmeted in the whole ordeal for an hour and 10 minutes one night while they were trying to get through their last heat or their second heat race. And I understand that sucked. And I did say that I was kind of, disappointed in that. But
I
that
didn't even
being
know
said,
that.
oh yeah, so yeah, no, I had said that, and in reality, not that I'm bashing on any of the kids, they're all learning, they're trying, they're all that. Now they have some time limits in place, and I heard that it's for all the divisions, which I think is a great idea to cap some of the heat races. Some stuff gets out of control, and we need the shows to flow because. Well, Peterborough specifically, not even specifically, but Peterborough, they got the curfew, and you need to race. Everybody wants to try and get their 3 shots at it before the night's over. But the growth in the kid market and getting kids into the sport is great. And I endorsed that right in the beginning. It was just one night I was pretty frustrated with this. Before I got to go out and run my second heat, I was, on fire and melting down. So now I don't. Now when they go out there, they got their stuff more together. Everybody's learning. They're all doing a way better job. They're not first time every. I guess that's part of it, right? The first few times you have like 100% rookies in the field. You don't have 2 or 3 drivers that can kind of lead the rookies and sort of help them out. They're all rookies and they're all trying and they're all nervous. I remember how nervous I was, and I didn't start till I was 18. Some of these guys are knee high to a grasshopper still, and they're jumping in, guys and girls, and they're jumping in these cars, and it's fast, it's exciting, they're noisy. It's got to be pretty intense. I could just imagine they feel all the same stuff I feel when I'm driving my mod. So, and they never did it before. So I get it, but I think they're having a problem with these cars flipping over and all that stuff. And I think they need to come up with like a air pressure rule for the tires or something to try and force the teams to run the tires way softer, which will make them all a little bit slower, but then give them a little suspension to stop that crazy bounce thing when they drive through the jumps and bumps in the track. And then the guys get spun out, because part of it's pretty impressive for me. I watched the car last time out 3 times, I believe. If you watch the video, see it 3 times coming off a 2. That thing stepped probably 15, 20 degrees sideways. And the driver, like I say, in his first year driving, that driver fixed it like 3 good sideways. So I was impressed and proud of the driver all in the same. But at the same token, maybe we need the tracks, maybe the track needs to figure out a way to kind of take some of that off of that. And I think that would be making like a softer tire, not necessarily tread wear, but a softer air pressure rule or something to try and keep these cars having a little bit of give in the chassis. But because I know if this was reversed and we were going back, 15 years, whatever, Brock was running one of those, I'd run that tire as hard as I could possibly get them to get them as much rollout as I could find and set them free. So I think that you need to police everybody to try and make it a little safer. Even I know they all have good equipment and they're all seatbelt and head restraints and all that, but I think you can make it a little safer. But lately the show's been great. Go up the fence when I got a chance to actually go watch them, and pretty proud of the whole group. And I wish I knew a bunch of the kids' names. I don't, unfortunately. I apologize for that, but I can barely work the laptop some days. You know that. So I gotta be careful if I try to learn something. There's not much room in there. So if I learn something else, I might forget how to tie my boots, and then I'll trip on my laces. You know what I mean? I gotta watch what's going on in there. So
We'll just get you Velcros. We're good.
yeah, I'm not allowed Velcros anymore.
But yeah, like I said though, it's really good for the kids. And what I like is seeing the bandoleros come up too, because you have a car with no suspension. The bandoleros have rear suspension, so kind of like it's like a development process to get them into a full size car where you can kind of. I feel like the junior lights are like a smash the gas and save it if it gets loose, where the bandoleros are going to teach you a little bit more momentum and car control, like as you're moving up to the bigger cars.
I think I would agree. I would agree. And those bandolero cars, I think they're just sexy. I love the way the doors come in and out a little teeny bit, and it's got just a little bit of hip to her. So they're a good looking car, I think. So, and they sound neat. and they're promising fast. And rumor has it they're attending the Autumn's Colors schedule. I think I just heard Cheryl talking about that today, so that would be kind of cool. We'll get up there and scream and yell at Ava. And so, Ava, if you're watching this, don't suck in Autumn's Colors because we'll tease you.
We'll tease her anyway.
I know, but fair enough. But,
so another person that's racing is announcer Ben is jumping in a car for the first time.
Oh, cool.
So
Nice.
that was his big announcement at 4:30. I don't know if you're paying attention to announcer Ben's Facebook, but
so I worked late and then I came home and I'm messing with the car. I got some advice from a couple of friends, and I'm trying a whole different front suspension package for Autumn's Colors. Trying to just go over everything again. The car continue. I know what I told you before. Drive it till it pushes, fix the push. Drive it till it pushes, fix the push. I've been driving it till it pushes and fixing the push. And then I got some advice the other day on how maybe to get the push out of it quicker. And the car's quick. I'm not saying it's not quick, but everything can be quicker. So I'm going to try a whole different package, and we'll see what we get. So if you see everybody on my team mad thrashing at the car after the first practice or the second practice, then maybe it was wrong. But if I do the fuel conserve thing and do a couple 5-lap practices, then maybe she's pretty good. We'll see what the future brings.
Or worse, you do a mad thrash in the first practice and the second one's a 5-lap fuel economy run, and I'd be more scared about that.
Yeah, that's a pretty good tall tale. If I run down there and come by Kevin and throw my hand up and give him 2 laps, like 2 fingers up for 2 more laps, then he knows we want to get hot air and hot temps on it. So the boys they're right quick down to the fence or down to the pit area from the fence because they know we're coming in. Something's where we want it to be, and we want good notes on it. So yeah, that I guess you're right. That'd be the bigger tall tale. If I run the whole practice, I guess usually I'm just goofing around, but if I come off quick, then there's a reason for it.
Yeah. So I also want to bring up, I ask experienced drivers like yourself, especially multi-time champion, which have we figured out the actual number of championships yet?
I'm doing pretty good.
I know you don't like to brag about it because you feel like it's bragging, but I want to say it was 17 if we included Kawartha.
It works out to be 19, I believe.
Oh yeah, because last year.
Yeah, it was 18 last year. Put it to 19.
So we have this conversation once in a while, and it's been in multiple classes. It's been multiple cars and stuff like that, which it's hard to do because like normally if you find a car you're good with, like I went to late models, I was okay with the blue late model, but I wasn't as good as I was in say super stock, right?
Yeah.
So like every person that's a good driver has a car that will suit their style, but I want to know what advice you'd give somebody that's starting into racing for like what they can do to make themselves improve as a driver, and maybe something that they can do to improve like their maintenance program, because I know how big you are on maintenance.
So the biggest thing is your wallet. You need to pick a car that your wallet can handle. You need to go to the racetrack knowing that every person that goes there, whether you're driving a mini stock, a for fun or whatever, to know that person, that team, whatever, with 2 people going through the gate you're going to spend $225 to $250. And I don't care what you got. That's what you're spending from the second you leave the house until you're ready to leave the racetrack, plus whatever happens at the track. And you need to have a car that you can put the maintenance through with whatever, through sponsor, through disposable income, however you word it, that you can put maintenance to that car and successfully be able to run that car on the additional cost after your $225 a week. And when you find the one that matches your wallet and your means, then drive the heck out of it, because that's where you need to be. And if you have a great night and you're at the top, you get some payout. That's cutting back on it. And if you're having a bad night, you can still survive. You can go home and have a clean mind on the racetrack, the race car at hand, not necessarily how, you're going to have a hard time struggling to get to work this week. You're light on fuel. I've been there, done that. Some of the worst years of racing that I had were years where I didn't have the fortune to have an amazing sponsorship like I have now and have had for quite a while. There's been times where I haven't had much sponsorship at all. And you got everybody's got life going on. You got stuff happening, and you need to make sure it's something you can afford to do.
So the reason I bring that up is because I know you jumped from street stocks and stuff like that in Mossport, and then like there's a couple of years you ran mini stock as you were starting a family and stuff like that, and you had kids coming up, so you couldn't afford to play late models for a year or two, which I think you are the the starter of the Honda Nation. I think at Peterborough Speedway. You're
Yeah, that Honda car was awesome. I went down there. So short version, Brocky got sick and I didn't have benefits back then. So I sold off a race car. So to deal with all the stuff for Junior. And then my friend circle, we all said we should build me a mini stock just out of the junk we have kicking around. And that's what we ended up doing. It had like a boat gas tank, if I remember right. The car itself, somebody had lit it on fire in a parking lot, and a longtime customer of my dad's shop, said, "Hey, do you think you can make some kind of a race car or something out of it?" Just making a joke because it was a little Honda. And I was like, actually, we're looking for one of those. So the customer sponsored me the car, and that car was born in one weekend. And I had so much fun. And that like I've said this before on different stuff, but that was probably a changing moment in my career because I feel my path meant to put me down that path. Because I learned way more driving a 4-cylinder front wheel drive, crappy hard tires, however you want to word it, car that didn't have really good brakes. And I mean, so like when I started in the Thunder car, I built the Thunder car. Freeman's gave me a roll cage that they had, and I started off with '01 brake pads on the front and the fancy race car rear sheaves on the back, and I had great brakes right from the start. I never ever had really pedal fade or even experienced any of that until 5 years later, 6 years later, I guess, whatever the math would be on it, when I end up back in Mini. And then also it's like, wow, there's so many more things to concentrate on and look at, as opposed to just driving the corner like an idiot, fix it in the middle, stand on it and see what you got down the straightaway. So it was a definite eye opener and also a building thing. So I'm very fortunate that my path went that way. And then as well, it taught me the respect of that class and that group and people coming in. And so I think it was, it was just in my path. It was meant to be.
Is that kind of like you were saying about the hard tires? Is that where you learn like the momentum of Peterborough and stuff like that, especially like your passing techniques and stuff like that?
Yeah, because you can only punish them so much. Like I don't know. Anyway, so like when you get it's the same on a hard tires as soft tires. So anybody watching this doesn't totally understand what the tires. Essentially, think of the tire as a pencil eraser, because that's for the part that counts. That's what it is, pencil eraser. So if I go into turn one at the end of the front straightaway and I do something foolish and I slide the back of the car, or so we'll go with that, slide the back of the car, I can fix it in the middle of the corner with my real drive car. I can stand out. I come off of 2. The back tires aren't slipping now. They're hooked up because the car's transferred weight back. And then I go flying down into turn 3 in through the dip where the car lightens up a bit. And I have all those little pencil eraser rubber pieces still sitting on top of the back tires. So now the car's going to slide into that corner. It's not sliding because it's not working right there. It's sliding because I upset it the lap before. So I didn't really know that. I didn't learn that until when I went back to the mini stock, where the tires were really hard and did the same thing, only it showed way more. And it taught me real quick. And then when I got the fortunate pleasure jumping into Randy Friedman's late model car that he built for me, that was an absolute blast, because I already, some of the longer races, I already had some tire management skills built in from that car. And that opportunity was awesome. And it was, and it was just neat to get into that. And more tire, more traction, more sticky, more cooler than the Thunder car. And it was a lot of fun to play that. But learning from the mini stock car, learning momentum, learning just different stuff. And then the same within your top lane. When you're stuck in the top lane, especially at Peterborough, really your only option is to try everything you got and go forward, like elbows up or whatever you want to call it. But forward's what you got to try and do. But you also got to try and do it without abusing the, not, pencil eraser in the right front tire all up real bad, or the right rear tire all up real bad. And I don't know, it's just fun, but it's one of those things you need to learn.
So do you see yourself maybe like wanting to try mini stock like again, as the class once again has evolved, like all racing classes, just to see what the difference would be? Like, I know we talked about putting you in my Neon before I even drove it, which you're welcome for not doing that, because it was a handful the first time I drove it. We had to change a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you like see yourself maybe wanting to like jump in like one of the Hondas you see nowadays that are like stupid fast, and just be like, okay, so I can make this, like, I know you're friends with the Ryan Babin and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever sit there and be like, I wonder what it's like? Maybe I should try this again. Like, do you think you could go back to school and like relearn some of those things that maybe you, I don't want to say forgot, but like maybe like a couple tendencies that you could pick back up on?
I think I'd get it handed to me. I really do. I think it'd be way harder. I'm spoiled rotten right now with the mod. Like you get to adjust so much and theory whatever, and sometimes elbows up and isn't as easy as it once was. And I don't know. I'd love to I'd love to tell you right now. I think I could jump in. Cut Ryan's car in half so there's a big enough hole to fit me in there because him and I are slightly different size. But a little bit. Like, I could jump in his car and go in there and turn the same lap time sim, but I don't think I could. I really do. I think it would be a build up thing. I'd have to, relearn, get a little more finesse again. I don't think I'd be able to jump in and go dominate anything. I don't think so.
I'm not saying dominate. I'm just saying like get back in there to the kind of like where you jumped into the mini stock the first time and you learned those small little things that made you faster and the driver you are now. Do you think you could hop back in and like maybe pick up a few things that maybe you lost with all the adjustments and stuff like that?
Over time, probably. More than likely, yeah, over time. Yeah.
So the only reason I say that is because we had J.R. Fitzpatrick on a few months ago. Yeah. And he drove one of Chris Lawrence's BT Racing rental cars.
Yeah.
And drove the first practice. It was like towards the bottom of the board to the point where he was going to give up. Like JR is one hell of a wheelman.
Oh, buddy, I put that guy, hold him on a pedestal. Yeah, for sure.
Right. So like to see him be frustrated because he feels like he can't do it right. And then he ended up finishing, I think, 5th that night.
Yeah.
Just having fun. I'd love to see like your track idols. Like at Peterborough Speedway, you were a favorite. There is a sea of orange.
Thanks. Yeah.
Right. And like if we could have like a charity race where it's like say you, Jared Fitzpatrick, Rick Spencer, Walt, like all in bone stocks, like you get all these track favorites at bone stocks and stuff like that, and do it for charity and stuff, just to watch you guys struggle a little bit out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
It'd be almost like an IROC, but for Ontario.
That'd be fun. That'd be neat. But like I say, I totally agree with JR that like I predict for myself the same as him. I think he's an amazing driver, but yeah, no, it's so different. Everything, it will be a lot to relearn. Like, and I mean, I watched the For Fun division and the main stock of the For Fun division to watch them guys go, lap after lap after lap. So it's awesome. Spectator point of view, phenomenal. And there's a little bit of rubbing and clunking going on, and nobody's jacking nobody up and acting all foolish and whatever. And I don't know, it's just good, wholesome racing. So it would be neat to do it again, but at the same token, I think it'd be tough. I'd have to go to some practice days when nobody was around. I don't want anybody to see me sucking. You tease me too much. You'd be definitely not allowed to go.
I would be there anyway. I would be taking pictures. So like, I think it was earlier last season when all of a sudden you spun out in 1 and 2 by yourself. And I'm like, were you trying something? And you're like, nope, just sucked. But it's a lot of people like myself, like see you dominate for so long, especially like I came to sport 2014, right?
Yeah.
It was just, if you showed up, you were fighting for a win or a championship or stuff like that. And all of a sudden it's like, he just went around by himself. And like, we made fun of it that night, but it's like, you don't expect people like you or JR or Rick Spencer, like you don't expect those people to do that. Or like Sean Chenoweth, like you don't expect him to loop it by himself at Flamborough.
First of all, thanks so much for including me with those guys. That's pretty cool. Thank you. And yeah, I guess you don't expect me to do that, but I don't remember what I was doing that day, but I went a little further than I could fix it, and it didn't fix itself. And yeah, no, that was a good spin out. I remember lots of teasing over that, but yeah, though that was all John.
But it's kind of like when my hardest learning point was when we first started talking. I believe it was after actually we were introduced from your mom who passed away just before or just after we actually met. When I was asking you questions because she goes, "You need to talk to John," which. Lovely lady. She's half the reason my racing career turned around.
Yeah.
Like, as much as I give you credit for like helping me and stuff like that, if it wasn't for your mom, like giving me a pep talk at the RPG barbecue while your dad was there and stuff like that, I probably would have never moved out of bone stocks.
Yeah.
But she gave me the, you need to get out of that class, you need to get this, you need to talk to my son, you need to go whoop his ass. I'm like, I'm not whooping his ass, because at that point you were still with the black and orange uh Balson car, Connolly car, whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. Absolutely having your way with the field.
That was a good that car. That car was a good car when I got it as a 3-link, and then talked to some friends who had some Leaf stuff for a long time. Got a couple ideas and put all their ideas together and went out with that car after that. And it, that thing was unreal. That was definitely a fun car.
But
Well, you know yourself, how long did it sit in the backyard? Three seasons or something sat in the backyard. Something like
yeah,
that.
because I think I asked about if I could have it before I got the car I got.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's not ready to go yet.
So the way that deal went down with that car was pre-sold while I was still racing it, and it was a handshake and a promise. If it left this house, it was going to a different house, and that was, like I said, that was a handshake and a promise. And then when I finally mentally was ready I figured I was going to play mod for a little while. I phoned up and said, I'm finally ready. You got first deal on it, a handshake that had been, at that point, probably about a 6-year-old handshake. And they were like, no, we're appreciate the honesty, appreciate the handshake. And I think it was like the next night or the night after. Actually, didn't you come over here and help me get out of the backyard with the 4-wheeler?
I don't think it was a 4-wheeler. I think we used the Studebaker.
Yeah, we did too. That's right. Yeah.
Because we went to McDonald's first.
Yeah, and we had to hook the truck on the trailer to get the trailer out of the way and stuff. So yeah, no, I think that was only like a 2-day deal to get that car gone once it was gone. But like I said, that car was pre-sold years before it left the yard here. And when you shake your hand with somebody, you shook your hand. That's just where it's at.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, when I went and got Walter's car, I messaged him saying I wanted to just look at the car and make sure it's what I want. Shook his hand, handed him the money, and that was the deal over. And that's the way old school racing is. And I still treat that as, if somebody, even if someone goes, hey, I'm coming on this day to get the car, that car is sold unless they don't show up.
Absolutely.
But like, I'm still understanding too, like, stuff happens. If someone message me, goes, listen, this happens. Like, obviously, if it's like months and months and months, it's different. But
yeah.
But I think that's that old school mentality of handshake is, if you can't take somebody's word after having a handshake, it's probably not the right deal.
Since this is about telling stories off, I got a funny story. So 17 years back, on Brock's birthday, actually, I ripped my left arm off. I pulled it out of the socket, busted the top bone in 5 spots, 4 spots, 5 spots. Don't remember.
All the spots.
We'll say 4 spots. It was a pretty bad deal. And while I was healing up from that, because that was a long winter, while I was healing up from that, I sold the race car that I had on a over the phone deal and stuff. And I headed out to Uncle Willie's house. Uncle Willie and Little Willie had plowed up the driveway and made a good path to get down to where the trailer was, because I used to keep my stuff there. Then get down there to it, and then the guy gets out of the truck and notices that my arm's in a sling or whatever, and he decided that, since I was off work, that the car was probably worth about $2,000 less than what our original, over the phone handshake was worth. So I gave him a couple minutes to reconsider his proposal of the price on it, and then I shut the back door. And we'd already had it running. Uncle Willie charged the battery, and anyway, it wasn't just me involved, because obviously I was a little laid up. And then he just shut the door on the trailer and shut the side door on the trailer, told him it wasn't for sale. And I would gladly cut the car into little teeny pieces and take photographs, and it'd be way more interesting, and I didn't need his money. And then I jumped in the truck and headed home, and didn't bother to answer my cell phone, although it was ringing to death on the seat. And then I guess the guy had called a girl he used to live with, and told her the carryings on what was going on. And she said, you just pushed the most stubborn man you ever met in your life, and you shook his hand on a deal and you broke the deal. Don't worry, he'll cut that thing. Well, if he told you he's going to cut that thing up before you get it, he'll cut that up before you get it. And in the end, that car sat in the backyard for another year. Yeah, sat down Uncle Will's for a year, I think, in the backyard, and then we drug it out and went racing at Mossport with it again, when we were doing our own mod program back then. So it never ever did get that car never got sold at that point in time. So that's the kind of stubborn mule I am about handshakes and your word's your word.
And you know what? That's another thing for young racers to learn. If you make a deal, honor it.
Yep. Speaking of that, anybody watching this podcast, come in my trailer with or without my permission, probably with my permission, borrowed a couple spring rubbers. I'm down 5 spring rubbers and 4 packers. So if you got them, I'm not really mad. I just had to go buy a $50 spring rubber of my own to make up for one of the ones that you're borrowing from me. So if you could return it, that would be awesome.
I think I have one but I think it's.
Oh, you jerk.
I was going to say, I think you keep telling me, like, I don't need it yet. I don't need it yet. And now the trailer is just sitting here. I think, no, wait. I had to look to see if it's there because it was for the mod last year for the coilover springs.
Oh, yeah. No, you got, yeah, no. So you have like, I think you got an orange short, a small orange one, I think, or something.
Yeah.
No, these are the bigger ones and those white nylon ones and stuff there. I think there's, I was away and Ryan was stuck and he come over to the house and went through the trailer and he did a way better job searching the trailer than we do. And he managed to only come up with 2, which means there is like 9 of them missing. So if anybody's watching this and you got one, I'm not pissed, maybe disappointed. Oh, that's a mean word, but I wouldn't mind my spring rubbers, my spring spacers back. Thanks.
Or at least knowing where they are.
No, not at this point. I completely forgot where they are. I just want them back now.
But yeah, but like I said, you're always willing to help people within reason.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's one of those good things. So before we get sidetracked for like the 600th time, because we do that, we both see a squirrel and we chase it.
Yeah.
So I have to know this because you're a good storyteller. Reg Woodbeck asked about your first win and your first adult beverage, and then a policeman making you pour that out.
Well, I don't know how in the detail I can totally get this whole deal, but I'll bridge over it because it's actually quite funny. So, at the time of my beginning in Thundercar, the Waterside group, they were the guys to be. They were the inspiration to help each other out. They helped all the people in the class. They were great guys. I ended up pitted right amongst them all, and Reg happened to be my exact neighbor, and offered advice and help. It was, like I said, great group. All of them are a great group, and still a bunch of them still around the racetrack, which is even cool. But anyway, every night after racing was all finished up, all the cars are done, tech and everything was all finished, they'd always be, hey, you want a beer? And I was 18, legitimately 18. So I'd be like, no, it's not. No, I'm good. So then we get to the last night of racing, pre to Autumn's Colors, and back then you raced straight up till the week before. I can't remember how many nights, way too many. So the night's over and we go through tech, and I had finished 7th in my rookie year. We had, 45, 50 cars battling for a 30 or 28 car field every Saturday night. And Terry Calvert smoked me for the rookie of the year by 2 points. And that was a great battle for the entire year. Anyway, all the boys were like, come on, Baker, like, you need to have a beer with us. So I was like, you know what? I'm cool with it. It's only one beer. And we're all done racing. Everything's good. We weren't leaving for hours and nothing to worry about. So a couple of super late model guys have been fighting with each other and acting fools, and one run down on the racetrack and stuff during their race. So they end up calling the cops to babysit these guys. And so then the cops come back and comes walking through the pits, and I'm standing there drinking my beer. I didn't know it was not acceptable. So then the cops come up to me and said, what do you think I'm doing? And I said, I was just watching the races. I finished 7th in points. I had a great night, and I'm standing here, everybody having a beer. And he went offside. And then I'm a junior, and he was having a rough go getting my name in his little police computer there, and that didn't help my matter much neither. So I ended up leaving with some pretty good tickets and stuff, and got re-educated on the fact that when you're at the racetrack, it's a sporting event by law until the end of the last checkered flag, and then it becomes no different than a public park. So anything, drinking beer in a public park not allowed. Drinking beer in the pits of the racetrack hours after racing's over not allowed neither. Although I guess it happens once in a while, it's technically not allowed. Anyway, so then I ended up having to go to court for it because I wanted to fight it, and that deal just got crazy because the whole court thing down there was frustrating. That took a few days to go down there. All I wanted to do was plea it down because I can't remember. It was a couple $100 or something. It was ridiculous. And because I was 18, it goes on your, forever thing because you're drinking beer in a public place. So I had a vested interest trying to deal with it. And at the end of the day, the police officer, I can't put any names on it. It was funny. So the police officer said in court that he read his notes out, which was kind of funny. And in his notes, he read that I was standing there drinking beer with all the Waterside guys and a couple other people. He named them all off name for name. And I said to the judge, all right, Your Honor, then could I please see the ticket that everybody else got? Because if he just read into court record that everybody else was drinking beer with me, and these were their names, then where's their tickets? I'll pay mine if they get theirs. And at that point, they made it all disappear. So it was so now it's just a old folklore story from 30 years ago. But anyway, so yeah, no, that's the Reggie thing. And then of course they teased me to death at Autumn's Colors. They were good. They were good at teasing me. They brought me glasses of water, and they brought brown bags, and even if I had a can of Coke, they put the can of Coke in a bag for me so that no one could see that I was drinking. And yeah, they got me good on it. So there you go, Reg. That's the story. That's how she went down. You'll remember. And too funny. And not that I'm saying that Reg Webeck himself was the person that gave me the beer, but it's probably not that far off from what I remember it being. I didn't crack it open. It was open and handed me to the guy that pitted right beside me. He handed it to me.
So that's actually, I'm wondering if that's where your love of the gray area came from, because that court case, it was, if they didn't get tickets, why am I getting it? Like, you know what I mean? That's almost a gray area right there.
Yeah, no, it was it was a pretty intense deal. It was, like I said, it took 3 days in the Peterborough court. It was crazy, just crazy trying to deal with that. So anyway, yeah.
And like I said, is that kind of like something like, were you already like playing gray areas and racing then, or was it kind of just like, I'm just trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing at that point?
I like having Dad and Rand, like, well, Dad specifically, but then also Randy and Roy, like from Dad's team at the time, because he raced for Randy before me. Having those guys pitted beside me and been helping Dad for years and that kind of stuff, that helped a whole bunch. So I don't know, maybe I was potentially introduced to the gray area at a younger age, potentially, maybe.
So the next one I'm going to ask you, you said it was okay to talk to you about this on camera.
Yeah.
It's from Mr. Gary McLean. He wants to know about why you don't run Oscar, and he wants to know if it's because he's not there anymore. And well, yes, I made that more politically correct.
Yeah, no problem. So I'll cut that whole thing right straight. I built a modified car to go race the modified division Oscar. I made a deal with Dave Gameforth sitting at a hockey arena. Yeah, I was at a hockey arena. I was having a bad day, I guess. Anyway, and I made a deal to go play. But my inspiration for that was Gary McLean. Like, let's call a spade a spade. Watched that guy race and enjoyed how he drove and all that stuff. And there's one race where him and I didn't agree, and I got a little chirpy in the interview about it. And I said what I said. And at the time, the way I felt, I hold true to what I said. But this goes back on that whole thing with, sometimes you stick a mic in somebody's face when they're pissed, they're going to act a little stupid. But since then, we became what I would consider to be pretty good on-track friends, and enjoyed racing with him, and also got to pit by him and learn from him as well. I don't know, maybe he learned something from me. I would hope, maybe, I don't know, but learned a bunch from him as well and his team, and how to run those Oscar tires and, some stuff like that, how they grow. And in the end, the respect I have for Gary McLean is phenomenal. And that was great. So being pissed at him in the middle of the summer maybe helped it be a little bit better, because him and I had communication after that we didn't have before and stuff like that. And, I can't remember what I said. It was shitty. But, now looking into the future, it potentially worked good, because I ended up gaining a fellow competitor who I would consider to be a mean, fierce competitor on my side, or to be a friend, to befriend him, or however you word it. So I guess sometimes the evils work out for betters. As far as the whole rest of the ordeal, with the craziness of the Oscar stuff, and their mindset and my mindset not lining up, that's all been long smooth under the bridge. I never didn't still have a good verbal relationship with Oscar. I never did have a whatever was frustrated with the situation, as I'm sure from their side of the fence, they were frustrated with the situation as well. And I think that Oscar did what they needed to do for their club and their people and the way it worked there. And I think I needed to do for myself, my sponsors, my people that worked on my side. And there is no more ban on Baker and Oscar. If I'd like to go back and participate in Oscar, they're just cool with picking up where we left off, and obviously change some of the body on the car because some of the rules have changed and evolved, and the car would need to meet the rules, of course. But there's not a drop of hard feelings for me for anyone. There's not. I don't even have any hard feelings for the worst of the worst during all the Oscar stuff. There's no hard feelings for anything. The one person who I looked up to for years and years that, had a bit of ended up being maybe a personal issue with, we actually hashed all that out, and I left the racetrack extra happy. I don't harbor any ill feelings. It was really nice to apologize to him apologize to me, and us to talk about it like old school, two guys at the front of the truck dealing with it the way it should have been dealt with. And I wish we had had that conversation 4 years sooner, but either way, at the end of the day, we got where we needed to go. So no, I currently just don't run Oscar because I don't want to purchase the tires, and we'll be doing our whole show in OMRS on Friday night, and I'm going to have a ball, and then I'm going to stop, put the car in the trailer, probably completely prep it for the start of winter. It'll be fogged out and everything, depending on how long we're in tech or what our race order is. I bet that car goes in the trailer fogged out and ready to come sit in the trailer for a month before we bring it back in the shop and go at it. And yep.
So you bring up about Gary, and Gary is one hell of a guy, because last year at Colors, I was trying modified at Peterborough for the first time, as you know, as I had to try to bank 1,000 ideas off you, because you're the only guy I know that went from Thundercar 1 week to Oscar modified like a week later.
That's because they kicked me out everywhere. I was at the time, I can't remember. So at the time, Flamborough didn't want me to come back. I was banned from Sunset. Kawartha was tore up, and JP was really polite and telling me, kind of was hoping I'd go find something else to do, get Randy's late model back out of the barn or whatever. So I kind of figured at that point I needed to go do something else.
But anyway, back to where I was talking about Gary. So I end up, another competitor had a bad night fighting for championship. I gave my car to Jason Keane to go run for the Oscar championship last year. Not knowing, me and Gary not knowing each other, Jason and him have a former relationship. I think he actually ran Jason's car up at Full Throttle Motor Speedway for him. They literally tore my entire car down. He fixed everything. And like, me and Gary once in a while will actually talk because of that, because he'd be like, "Oh, you brought the car again." I'm like, "No, I need this, this, and this." And like, right now I'm stuck in a point where I have access to parts I need. I just don't have the passport to go get them.
Oh, oh, really? Eh?
Yeah, I've got parts, literally the 2 parts I need to finish my car other than tires, sitting in Connecticut right now.
I'd offer to go, but Cheryl crashed her little car. Now she's got a rental, and her car's at the body shop. So now my commuter car from going RC car racing's busted. Cheryl didn't even care whether or not, driving down Bloor Street, some Dodge truck pulled out in front of her, and she rode off the Dodge. They need a flat deck for the Dodge truck, and her car, little Alero or whatever, a little gray thing, silver thing, it drove away. So probably not buying a Dodge truck next time. Anyway, even though I could forget how to park. But yeah, so actually kind of funny, back on Gary McLean, since he wants to play the story thing. Gary McLean set me up one night, not set me up, I don't know the right word for it. So I was running Kawartha, brought my car to Kawartha. I went out there on my brand new tires for Autumn's Colors. I can't remember what year. And I literally was driving around the track. And I had set a pace that was last place pace. I didn't want to hurt my tires or get them hot or any of that stuff, because I'm just playing the tire game for Autumn's Colors. And then my spotter, which at the time was Brock, says, Gary's coming. He's like half a track back or whatever. I'm like, all right, I'm good with half a track. So then he's like, and I didn't change my pace. And then he's like, he's making on you. I'm like, okay, no problem. He's faster. I'm not. Anyway, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh my God, he's coming. Brock's like, just get out of the way. He's coming. So I move up and get out of the way, and he goes by, and then Brock's like, half a track clear to the second place car. And I was like, wow, one, Gary's great. But I was like, wow, man, I don't get why he's running. Like, that's nuts how hard he's running that car for, being up in the front already. Anyway. So when the races are over, so I go over to him and he's standing there with the craziest grin, like, and he's like, "You talked to your sisters yet?" And I started laughing. I was like, "You ass," because he knew my sisters ribbed the heck out of me for crazy stuff, and to become a lap car for me, not for anybody else. They're good at their best. For me, being a lap car, you're going the wrong way. Those cars aren't supposed to pass you. And Gary's like, man, I drove the wheels off that thing just when I saw that you were in last, and I knew I could get you, no problem. He's like, I drove the wheels off to get by you. And he's like, and now your sister's going to give you a hard time. And man, oh man, they did. So that would probably be one of my funniest Gary McLean stories. And of course, we laughed and everything was good. And then we went and ran on colors together. So it was kind of fun in the end. But yeah, no, he got me.
Was that the year you won and also created a bunch of controversy with some 3D printed stickers?
Oh my God, no. Yeah, no, the year I won my first year that I ran Oscar. Yeah. Yeah, I won that year. No, and then after that, I think I got, I don't know, top fives, third, second, thirds, stuff like that. Yeah, no. I think that was one of the years I got third, I think. But yeah, no.
But
yeah,
was it the year with the stickers on the tires that
I don't totally remember, Brent.
Well, that's pleading the fifth if I've ever seen it.
I don't. Oh my God. Oh, I don't want to make fun of nothing. Everybody's got their own programs going on, but I had noticed some of the guys really getting lit. The fact that I was playing the tire switchy game, it was the year I ran Oscar, and we would run our newest tires only in the features and all that stuff, which is something that I actually learned from Gary. And and it's not that I had a million tires or was doing anything crazy. No extra tires. All our tires were badged in, as I'm sure Gary's were as well, and I'm sure everybody else in the class at the club. But we would pull the tires off the car and then bring the tires in the trailer and quickly armor all them and stick a 3D printed brand new sticker or a printed color sticker back on the tire that we had taken off and stick them back on the car and line the car up for the feature. And there was a few guys in particular in the club that year that if I knew I was starting ahead of them in a heat race, we'd smack 4 stickers on the car so that when it went out on the track, they could see the white patches flopping by. And that was, I probably shouldn't have done that. I caused myself a bit of grief in Oscar with the tire guy at the time. And obviously it was just a sticker. My tires were correct. I did not buy 800 tires. I think that year we bought 44 tires, which I think is about, or 43 tires, which I think is about the right amount to run 1 year in Oscar.
Yeah, because I think the schedule was like 15 races back then.
Yes. Yeah, it was longer.
So you've always kind of been a jokester and a prankster, and I think that's kind of why I wanted you to tell that story, because one of the funniest things that I could think of was you telling me about the water guns.
Oh, that was a long time ago. Wow. Yeah. 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 It was a lot of fun long time ago when the cars weren't going as fast and stuff wasn't as dangerous and whatever I'm supposed to say to make everybody in the modern age happy. Well, I used to not just myself, other people used to keep squirt guns and like silly string and stuff in the car, and you'd go down the back straightaway and be squirting silly string and go to the back window. And I ran on the outside of one of my favorite water gun stories. I ran on the outside of Pat Walwart for, oh my God, 6, 7, 8, 9, I don't know how many laps, lots of laps. And he was holding his own and I was holding my own, and neither one of us was going anywhere. And the race was coming down to where it more counted, and I could get a little bit of run on him a couple of spots. And I reached down beside me and I took out my water gun. And as I was going down the back straightaway where I could advance on him a little teeny bit, I was going the back straightaway. I just kept squirting and squirting and squirting. And luckily he was one of those guys that has a little blow off thing so that the whole world can see your car's overheating and it all sprays up and it looks all spectacular. And then, the track officials know exactly what cars drive around. They're puking water on the track. So he thought that his car was overheating because it was squirting water up on the window, and he just lifted and pulled into the infield. And I ended up taking home the win that night. And I do kind of still feel a little bad about that, maybe because it was kind of a game I should have been playing. But either way, I didn't take the water guns out till years later when they stopped me on the front straightaway, as well as about 3 other guys, and actually took all the toys out of our cars. And we weren't told that day that stops immediately because they had to caution flag a race. I believe somebody dropped a squirt gun out of their car going down the back straightaway, and they ended up actually putting a caution out. And not everybody, the guys they knew were kind of doing it. We all got a talking to. So then then none of those, shenanigans happened again until years later when Sean Walker, Dan Price, myself, I guess Donovan Price, who else? Buckhand, I think he was in on it too. Back when we all ended up back with mini stock cars again, then there was some of those shenanigans went on again for a little teeny bit. So it's kind of those are some fun memories that you kind of forget about.
And that's why I think when you sit back and you look back at your racing career, it's not like the wins you look back on. It's the shenanigans and the fun that you go like. Those are the times you miss.
Yeah.
Like obviously you have some key wins where you got to propose to Cheryl down the victory lane after having the ring with you so many times and something going wrong that year, just for it to forget the ring and win. Only guy in the world probably that guy said yes to with a gear clamp or a zip tie or whatever it was.
Zip tie, yep. Yeah, she kept the zip tie. She put it in a little ring box in the house. But yeah, no. I'd say the hardest part of all that is I went and talked to her parents because, with my history, divorce, all that sort of stuff, and I'm kind of still old fashioned. So I went and talked to her parents and said, if they want any information about any of that stuff, it's an open book. They need to know that I plan to care and love and care for their daughter and all that stuff. And I wanted to ask her to marry me. And they said, yeah, that'd be great. And then her dad messaged me every Monday and said, why didn't you win? What's going on? I thought your car was fast. You said the car worked good. You said everything was on point. Cheryl said the car was quick in practice, whatever. I'm like, well, win in practice don't mean you win the feature. Like this is so that was a bit of a long year that year to try and get a win. And you don't know, like you can have the fastest car. Everybody that's probably watching this knows you can have a wicked fastest car out there. And you do something dumb, especially with the mod stuff. I do something dumb, bend my steering, then I'm just dealing with my stupidness from bending the steering or whatever. So it was tough slugging to get that win. But no, it was nice. And the best part, like I said before, because she's quiet and shy, I'm quiet and shy, and she's loud and outgoing. So it was a good one to get her in the infield because she was not expecting that a drop.
Yeah, and it was just one of those things that I think 6 people knew going down to there.
Potentially less than that. Yeah. Yeah, no, it was.
No, I think it was up to 6 by the time you actually did it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I wasn't many. Was yeah. She was. Yeah, no. The cool part about that is that I do hold the fans, like love me, hate me, whatever. I do hold the fans at Peterbilt Speedway as family. They've been through a lot with me, and most people that are around there have been around there a while. I've seen their kids grow up, and I guess I'm kind of getting older, but I've seen their kids grow up, and whether they race or not, it's just been neat to watch the kids evolve from, little teeny kids, come down for your autograph or whatever, and too shy or not shy or whatever, and sit in the car then, and then, get a little older. And then all of a sudden, you say, hey, you get ready for school. And they're like, oh yeah, I'm going into grade 9 or something like that. Meanwhile, it feels like, the year before I was like, oh yeah, thanks for coming to watch me race. I hope you're having fun at the racetrack. You ready for school? Yeah, I'm going in grade 3. You know what I mean? Just the evolution of the people and stuff. And so I don't know, that I really dig that stuff. I think that fans are partly my family, and I think that even the ones that don't like me, I live rent free in their minds, and I'm okay with that. And and yeah, it's just fun.
So have you ever ran into the situation yet that like one of those fans that grew up like as a kid watching you race and like you put them in their car, sign autographs? Have you got to like race against any of them yet, or like?
Yes, I have. Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. A couple special ones. So little Mikey Nelson, he calls me dad. And I don't know. It's cool with him. I remember when he was just little, and he was in the car, and then years later, he ended up running the car, asked me to come help him, and it was really neat to go and participate, and it was just really neat. It was neat to know that potentially I was part of the thing that got him hooked in doing what he loved to do. And he was really good at it. And it was pretty cool to know that, potentially I had a chunk there in a chunk of hand in that. I thought that was neat.
So before we keep carrying on for hours, and which we could day in, day out, I'm going to give you a few moments here to thank your sponsors.
Yeah.
Where we can find JBJ on social medias, and also how they can pick up some orange JBJ merchandise.
So the JBJ orange merchandise, message Cheryl directly is about your best way through Facebook. And then what was the other question? Sorry.
Where we can find you on social media and your sponsors.
So social media, I'm not that great at. I always say I'm going to try and focus harder on it, but then I kind of get tied up with other stuff. So I pretty much I got a, what do you call it? YouTube? No. Yeah, I got a YouTube page. I put the big car stuff, in-car stuff from in the big car, and some of the RC car winter stuff. I put some of that on there too. And as far as the sponsors, yeah, like this wouldn't at all be possible for me if it wasn't for the sport of the Gen 3. I got Rotac Repair, Oshawa Funeral Homes. Pardon me, sorry, Oshawa Funeral Homes, or Oshawa's Mac Funeral Homes, Vampire Racing, Oshawa Hearing Aid Clinic, Robinson Solutions, Fotheringham Bookkeeping. I got Bounty Roofing come aboard and Babin's Automotive. Without all the help of everybody, and also family and friends as well too. And I have some silent help also, some friends who also race their own cars, and it wasn't for those guys that we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. Wouldn't be able to put on the show we put on.
So I'm going to ask you 2 more questions before we call it a night.
Yep.
So one is, actually there's going to be 3 because I forgot about one. The first one is there kind of car that you haven't raced yet that you'd love to get your hands on?
Yes.
Well, you gotta have to name it.
Oh, I gotta name it?
You can name it or name them, like if there's like more than one.
Okay, so cars that I really like to actually go rip. I would like to... Yes, it's a yes. I would like to run a rear-wheel drive, like super stock dirt. I would like to run a modified car, not an asphalt modified, but like one of those cool ones like Dan has where the thing jacks up all crooked and all that stuff. I'd like to run something like that.
So like a UMP mod?
Yeah, I guess whatever. Yeah, not
the center steer ones, which would be like a Sportsman or like a 358 mod, but like a left, like a where you sit in the right spot.
Yeah, because the good Lord built my butt too big to fit from the side of the car to the middle of the car to go race one of the middle ones. So, and probably like a dirt late model. I think the front fenders flapping going down the track I think that'd be fun. So pretty much the stuff I really want to try is definitely a little bit different of a venue. I believe the saying goes that's where you use the asphalt for getting the track and the dirt for racing or whatever. Those would be the cars I'd like to try. And anytime I've ever ventured to Brighton in the past, it's just been a great event, great experience. And it would be my closest local dirt track. And then done some tour and went down to Cornwall and probably watched one of the most amazing races I've seen in my life. A quick shout out to Cornwall for that race at the beginning of the year. I can't remember that it was 53 laps or whatever. They started 24 cars or something like that, I'm going to say, and the timeline between first and last was nothing. I can't remember. It was nothing. And the leader who was on point, like wicked fast, and second and third, it took them 10 laps probably under green to catch up to the back of the pack. And then it took them 3 or 4 laps a car to pass them because the slowest cars on the track were that close in speed. Like it was, what a show. And like I obviously contribute that to the dirt world, like the teching and the officiating and whatever prep. I don't know any of the tire rules. I don't know any of that. And if anybody, I'm not trying to negatively affect anyone, but that show was phenomenal and it was really cool. I raced RC cars against fire, and it was good to go down there and actually watch him play his thing on his, in his car and do what he does. So that was really cool. And he had a good night that night. We were there too. So it was kind of a neat thing to go see. So shout out to Cornwall for that deal.
So to continue on with the dirt cars that you mentioned, is it the level of competition that you see week in, week out at all the tracks? Like if you watch G-Force on Friday Show Weekend, or if you see like Brighton car, like is it the level of competition that you see that gets your interest? Because like I said, for a while you were dominant and you're helping people to try to catch up to you so you could kind of have someone to play and race with and go faster yourself. So like jumping to there and you see like 20 car stacked fields, is that kind of where that piques your interest, or is it just trying something new altogether?
I would say yes. I think it's all of it. And like I watched them on TV, and I know it's nothing like it's on TV, trust me, but I watched it on TV and it's neat. And I just, the the mental game. So for you dirt guys out there, the mental game you got to go through having a car, you're running the top side like high, wide, handsome, or you're running on the tires or whatever you call it, the bottom, everywhere. The mental game where you get in the corner better and off the corner better, and the guy on the top side's hauling the mail down the straightaways, and he passes you back and forth, and essentially you're 4 car widths apart, but you're a bill a second apart every where it counts at the stripe and stuff. That mental part of the game is just got to be unreal. I think that. So I guess that kind of answers some of the question. I just think that would be neat, and like some of these races, like the I don't know, the level of talent pool that I enjoy everybody I race against. I think everyone I race against is talented. Yeah, I'm not saying about that, but the additional stuff that the dirt car guys seem to deal with, I think that would be fun to go try my hand at it. I might suck, I might not. You have no idea till you get there, but it's I think it would just be neat, all the different lines, and like because I know how much focus, and like for you, when you were running that late model car and we went down and put the pylons on the track, and I said, like ignore the whole world and run these pylons, run in the corner here. This is, train your mind not to lift until you're here. Train your mind not to even rub the brakes till here. So this changes lap after lap after lap. So I just think it'd be neat to try. I give those guys huge credit for what they're doing. I really enjoy watching it, and I don't think it'd be fun to try. Not knocking anything we're doing on the asphalt, because the difference I see on the asphalt, and whatever, call me whatever you want if I'm wrong, but when we make a mistake on the asphalt, it can be 6, 7, 8, 9 car lengths, and it's only a little teeny mistake. Whereas in the dirt, potentially you guys that got distance on you or could make the same mistake the next lap way more often than we could on the asphalt, because a lot of our asphalt stuff just turns into choo-choo train racing after a while. Everybody's maxed out with what they got and doing what they got, and not many cars are advancing. So I just think that the multi-lane, multi-groove, I don't know, I just think it'd be cool.
It's new and it's shiny and you want it.
Pretty much. Like, and then it falls back into like even the RC car world. So with the carpet RC car stuff, we were doing pretty good with that. Run all around wherever we went, did pretty good. And, jumped around, jumped over the board and did pretty good, whatever. And then last winter put a big push on to try this whole sprint car thing and go out and run the little sprint cars and stuff. And that's tough. It was different. It was huge learning curve. And like there's guys that have these little tools that they put down and push on the dirt, make a dent in the dirt, and then they read some scale on it. And I'd probably buy one if someone could sit down and tell me, John, this is what, if it says 3, do this. If it says 5, do that. But I mean, maybe I want to get it just so I look cool and I have one, but I don't know what it means. And
you wouldn't buy one, you'd make one.
Yeah, probably. Admittedly, probably. But yeah, no. But it's just, I don't know. It's just the same. It's neat. I'm far from done with the sport. I love racing. I love everything. And if I talk to my sponsors and they still want to keep doing what we're doing, like right now we run probably the best underrated series in Ontario. And I hate to say underrated. I'm not picking on nothing we're doing. We have got older car technology, 4 9-inch rear ends, like the PG52 style brake pad, single piston caliper on a recap tire that you could run 2 seasons on if you want, like, and maybe even potentially more than that. I had a left front tire that lasted, I don't know, 250 laps or something, and our motor rules are pretty modern, to be honest. And you're allowed a 5 and 510 cam and 2701 intake on a built motor, and you get a little carb spacer to help it out and some stuff like that. And so our rule package, I think, is pretty darn good, with the exception of the no coilovers, which I don't think it would be right to allow coilovers. So that's kind of a negative. I'm not trying to just burn both ends of the rope, I guess, but the OMRS car platform, I think is awesome. I don't understand why there's less car count than what we have, because you're running, the tires are 10-inch wide wheels with an 11-inch tire. They look cool as heck. They're not that slow. They run good. They're about the right amount noisy. There's 10 nights a year. Now we get a guest appearance on full show appearance on Friday Night Autumn's Colors. Like I don't understand why there's not more. And I don't know if somebody wants to message me and tell me what they think the issue is, I'll bring it to the powers that be and keep your name out of it, because I'd love to attract more people, because admittedly I just think I don't understand why there's not more. There should be more. Like you you can put like your car, unfortunately, you got not unfortunate that part, but the car itself is a coilover car. There's no changing it to a 5-inch spring or 5.5-inch spring car. But like 602 crate with you get the smaller clutch and the normal transmission, set of what are they, 583s, set of 583s, tickle the thing on the chip at 6,400 and go racing, burn 6 or 7 gallons of fuel in a whole night and, have a blast. Tire's going to last a year. I don't understand why we have the low car count that we have. And all the guys in our club, and in my opinion, I think everybody in our club's great. I get along with all of them, or I think I do anyway. They get along with me at the racetrack. And, we seem to have some fun together, but I just wish there was more. I don't know. And I wish I knew how to fix it.
So the only thing I could actually think of, and this will be my kind of perspective, is there's not a lot of cars that somebody can buy and like just go MRS racing without building it themselves.
Yes. Yes. Unfortunately, yes. Like, so the cars that fit more of this package of a car is if you take a whole, you'd have to take like your Thunder car and cut it into a third and start again. So, and the pool of cars that are from back in the Mosport day when these cars were sort of invented and, live their life starting at that, though that pool of cars is definitely getting thinner and thinner and thinner. So I do agree with you. Unfortunately, they're far from a dinosaur. They still rip. Like, they're fun.
Oh, they're still fast cars, but I think that might be one of the problems is not everybody can build their own car.
True.
Not everybody should build their own car because you've seen as many weird builds as I have. That's like, without trying to be mean or like,
no,
safety needs to be there, and like you have to have good welds on cages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things, like, if you can't build a car, you look to buy a car. But if there's not a lot of cars available, I think that's part of the issue. So like, as racing, sometimes you have to take a year or two off, just like I am and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just to save up funds and stuff like that. that as well. Like, life happens.
Yeah, a little reset.
So I think that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
But I think if there's a way that we could almost take the Oscar hot rods with a perimeter car and stuff like that. Like, obviously you could, most of those late models that are running hot rods, the perimeter rail is just there for show to say it's a perimeter car.
True.
So you could probably lop that rail off, make a couple of reinforcements and stuff like that. And most of those are coilover cars with steering box and stuff like that too. So like, I feel like you could make those work, but I think there needs to be a few people that show it can be done and be fast.
Yeah.
Like, not a lot of people know that your car started life as a super late model.
It was the only remaining piece now is the middle, and even the door bars all got cut off at 1 year and changed. So it's even less than just the middle was the original chunk. But yeah, that car originally was Rudy's car.
But this is what I'm saying. It's like, someone needs to prove that it's a viable option for some of these. Like, hot rods aren't the only option for cars that are retired and can't race late model anymore. Like, maybe you can build an OMRS mod or stuff like that. Yeah. That's the only thought process I have. Like, obviously, if the other option is looking at the older Troyers and stuff like that, they're all coilovers. You say you don't think it's fair to let them in, but at a certain point, there's got to be a weight penalty that is worth letting old cars come play.
And I know they talk about that in the club every once in a while and try and come up with something fair. But I will say, when I brought my Oscar trimmed car as an Oscar car and raced against their cars, in a 10-lap race, there was no difference. In a 20-lap race, there was a difference. Like that, the 4-piston caliper brakes were a little bit better, 12 laps, and the shocks, the quality of the shocks that ran in Oscar were a little bit better, and they didn't vary out as much as they got hot and the race went on versus what we had, like the Pro, what are they, WB, what do they call the things we got now, WB Pro non-adjustable or whatever. Like, so in that, and there is some things there that just don't cross. Unfortunately, they don't cross over because there's no, and then you let 1 or 2 people come in and whatever with a weight penalty out in it, and jump on the people that have been supporting the heck out of it for years and years. That's not fair to those people either, right? So I know it's a horrible cross to bear. I'm happy I'm not in any of the top of the club position. Like they have to make decisions. They have to make decisions, to help me and to control me and at the same time to not, make me upset. And the same for everybody else. So they have to do. There's a lot more. I just feel bad for them. There's a lot of decisions and stuff they have to deal with that I'm glad I don't have to deal with. But I just wish that there was more. That would be. It pays pretty good. Like it pays what I made on the Autumn's Colors I won. It pays the same amount to win on a Saturday night in OMRS mod. So like to pay out dollar wise, you're doing pretty good.
And less cost to run the OMRS nightly than it is to run Oscar.
Correct. Yeah. So but it's a different chassis. So that's what I mean. Like I don't want to hate on Oscar either. I think they put on a good show. They got a good program. They got a good thing going. I'm not hating on anything. I just wish that I had more people consistently to play with, because then I wouldn't be considering, making some kind of change to something else.
Yeah. So anyway, that ends that kind of question there before we go on a tangent down that path. So the next two things I want to ask. The first one is, if you're going to the track and like I don't want to say not in the mood to race, but like you're kind of like zen, is there a song you listen to kind of like get in the zone, get ready for racing?
Yeah, yep. It's a funny song though. I would say my 30 mile an hour, my more 30 mile an hour song is Trampoline That Booty. That is probably the craziest beating, thumping, weirdest, annoying song I think I ever heard. I think Cheyenne, my daughter, played it one time for me to annoy me, and I stole it and put it on my playlist. And that thing comes on in the truck, everything just goes 30 mile an hour faster. So I would say, I don't know, look that one up on Spotify. There's only about 8 words in it. There ain't much to memorize, but the beat on it is just phenomenal. I would say that's definitely my speed up song.
All right. So the last thing I'm going to ask you, and this is going to test your memory.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you every car or every division you race, and as close to order as you can. Like, what was the stepping stones that you've gone to get to this point in your career?
Oh, okay. That's not bad. So we went Thundercar mini stock, modified and Thundercar at the same time. Then Freeman Motorsports car, like late model car, Freeman Motorsports and Thundercar. Then I missed one. There was a Thunder truck in there.
Wasn't the Thunder truck also a Thunder car because you found a gray area in the rules?
Nope. Nope. That was an actual 1985 Chevy half ton that we cut up and shortened. Dave Bishop drove that truck. It was his hauler the year before, and we turned it into a race car for the next year. That was actually that was not even like a Chevelle chassis. That was a real truck chassis.
No. I mean, like it ran in the Thunder car division. Because
they had all these great expectations of having all these Thunder trucks, and we threw that thing together and nobody showed up. So I can't remember there was a couple concessions. I got around 150 pounds more weight on the car, on the truck, because it was an inch wider in track width or something. And I think they tried to beat it up a little bit more to slow it down. And that was the motivation I needed to really go at it. And it took a bit. We figured out how to make that thing go. That was fun. Yeah. Sorry. So go back to the Thunder truck. That puts me at 2000. So Thunder truck, then from Thunder truck, then we went to mini stock. Then we went to Thunder car again, then Thunder car and modified, then Thunder car and late model. Did that for 8 or 9 years, I guess. Then Thunder car only for a bit, then Oscar, specifically Oscar modified, and then with a blend, a couple of OMRS shows in between. Then the next year was OMRS, and then dabbled in the Oscar and did that back and forth for a bit, and then still in OMRS. I think that's about the right order.
I told you to test your memory on that one.
Yeah, that's good memory.
So, but the first one was when you first got into Thundercar. Was it not still street stock, like street tires, everything?
It was. Yeah, and back then, I'm not sure about anybody else, but I got my tires from Taunton Tire, and they were like some takeoff cop car tires or something in the beginning. That's where That's when it started. A couple of years in, I think 90, that was 95, 98, every year Course opened, 97, 97, 98, something like that. That was a long time ago. Half the people watching this probably weren't even born. I got a sponsorship through Second Time Around Tire that was actually factory supported from Firestone, and we ran like these Firestone. I can't remember the name of them. I'll call them Firehawks or whatever. I don't remember what they were. We ran all these different Firestone tires. That was cool. So the Firestone was shipping down tires like I said, now it's a long time ago, but pre-shaved, pre-ready rocks was a brand new tire with like 330 seconds of rubber on a peak racing area. And we'd run them for 2 nights and then we had to give them back. And then that was, I think we had a pretty good rain of tear up at Peterborough that year based on our tire program. We ran 4 brand new tires for 2 nights, 4 brand new tires for 2 nights, 4 brand new tires for 2 nights. That was, and I don't know what they did with them. I brought them all back. Firestone took them back, and I don't know any of the ins and outs of what they were doing, but they had approached me, and it was just I locked into a multiple year sponsorship relationship with Firestone and the Firestone dealer, and that was a really good deal. But that was a few years in. But originally we were all pretty much everybody ran on the Takeoff Cop Car tires, and the Rob Howard and Bob Howard actually back then. But they were the guys getting them, and I think I'm pretty sure they charged $15 or $20 a tire. Whatever they paid for them, you paid for them. They were just great guys for the sport, and multiple times throughout the year, Rob Howard and like they've helped me out, again and again. So it's just, it's kind of funny. Wow, you think about all this stuff now. It's like you said, some little things when you get poked a bit, you remember them. They were pretty neat.
But yeah, because all I could think of was this conversation with the Firestones and stuff like that was sitting on the back of the car. I was going to lunch Cheryl, then she kind of backed out a little bit. And then I drove to Colors, was the whole chart of explaining how tires worked in real life and racer life.
Oh yeah, too funny. Yeah, we're not going into any detail on that because I know some people still running street tire cars. So, but yeah, the reality of what they tech and how they dream up the tire rule versus what you can manipulate just looking through the book is quite crazy. Yeah, it's not even a gray area because there's nothing gray about it. The numbers are numbers, and you're just using them to your advantage backwards.
It's black and white and well done research.
Yeah. No, and I credit that those few years of those guys for teaching me all that stuff. So that was kind of cool.
So anyway, John, I'm gonna once again thank you for popping on. I had a great time talking to you like always. Who knows? I might need to steal you to help me get the mod ready for Colors, and you get to see what Gary did to it from the last time it ran.
Cool. It'll be good.
Hopefully I can get those parts from Connecticut because I'm literally it's headers and the rock screen that I have to pass tech, and then I was just gonna grab tires off of somebody's got to have a U set somewhere.
Yeah.
But if not, I'll just. I don't like borrowing parts, so like.
Yeah, I know.
Especially something like a header that could get damaged super easily.
What headers are? That's got special headers though, right? Not just ones like I got here.
That's got the Schoenfeld economy like modified header.
Yeah, straight out the side.
Yeah.
You want to cut the middle bar out of the way? I got the crate motor one sitting here.
Well, I got
with my car. We just got to cut a couple holes in your car to make it fit.
It probably still fit my car.
Yeah. Well, you're on the shelf. You know where the shelf is.
Unfortunately, yes.
There's even some good used gaskets hanging on the wall because everybody knows.
I just got brand new gaskets.
What new gaskets? Holy!
So I was prepping the car to run the Peterborough race.
Yeah.
And I was going through things. I'm like, all right, if I don't have the rock screen, maybe they'll let me sneak away and be like, this is a one-time appearance, fix it for Colors or etc. Because I played that at Colors last year. So you get the 1 week to fix minor issues thing, right?
And I'm the gray area guy. Just saying.
I understand the rock screen, but at the same time, it's attached to not a lot of things on most cars. So it's like, and I've watched a few guys hold them with zip ties. Anything that's coming to that rock screen that you're worried about hitting the driver, it's taking zip ties out.
So the year I ran Oscar, I had it's on my YouTube page, I think somewhere. Sunset Speedway, a big wreck happened in front of me, and a piece of red hot brake rubber come flying in the car and landed on my seatbelt and burned 2/3 of the way through my lap belt. and that was like actively during. Like we're running around there running that feature out, and I was like, man, oh man, something stinks, something fierce inside of this car. And then got the car out when it was over, got out of the car and tacked or wherever, and had a quick look inside the car, try and find where the smell was. It burned the seat cover, burned the side of the seat belt. It was so that's why I put the windshield in my car about 2/3 of the hole in the front of it, just to try and alleviate the same thing from happening. So I understand. Like I said, the evolution of some of these rules are for stuff that some people maybe never even heard of.
Well, like I said though, it's how it's attached was where I was going. Like if it's like held in with zip ties, it's not going to really do the same effect of nut and bolting it, like say a rock screen in.
Why?
Why? Because if a
How
brake
big of a
rotor,
bolt? How big of a bolt you hitting? The biggest bolt you're going to hit would be on the racetrack. Running around with our cars would be like maybe a 3-inch long, 1/2-inch bolt. That'd probably be the biggest bolt that should be out there. Somebody got a race car with a bigger bolt. Now, wait a minute. That's a lie. Some of the guys still use the big joints in the back. So 5/8, now we'll go right to 3/4. 3/4 by 3.5-inch would be the biggest bolt you find out on the track.
No, I'm saying like to bolt the rock screen into the car, not for a bolt coming through the rock screen.
Oh, I see.
So like, if that same rotor hits the zip tie, it's just going to melt through it and end up in your lap anyway, and then you're going to have a flapping rock screen. You're going to get black flag for it.
Fair enough.
So that could be another option too. Is maybe I'll have to find Lexan. I can just get somebody that's super creative to help me make a second windshield for that side of the car.
Do a half window. Yeah.
Well, it's already got half a window, so it just needs another half window.
That's only a half window on the other side.
So because then
wouldn't
you
be that
just,
bad to flow more air over the top of the car. You put the air over the top of the car, it changes how it loads the nose. So it's not.
It also changes how it loads the rear.
Yeah, it unloads it a bit, but it's if you're on the Oscar sticky tires, then you got lots of grip.
I need the rear end of that car unloaded.
That's what I'm saying. You got lots of grip.
Yeah. Well, it was. I think I told you about this at Colors last year. I've never driven a car that it's so hard to mess it up.
Yeah.
Like. Especially because I was driving the Thunder car on the hard retreads. You throttle up, you kick the end sideways, and it looks cool for the bands, but you're not going any faster.
Mm-hmm.
But
if I remember right, the year we ran Oscar, maybe the second year, I can't remember. We had like 11 holes in the rear spoiler, and then a piece of Lexan that bolt clipped in half, basically over half of the holes. And depending on the night at the track, we would actually remove the panel and take away a whole mount in the rear spoiler, and then put the piece of Lexan back in as required. And I think it just went in with a couple tie straps, if I remember right. Don't remember what year though, but it was pretty simple go to take a lot of air off the back of the car as required.
Well, as we were talking, but the TV panel, wherever you call it, the back panel behind the bumper between the fuel cell, that was like 1/10 off of the car, taking that panel off. And you don't think it's like yeah, I get a little bit of experience and stuff like that, but like one practice another, all I did was undo 4 Zeus fasteners and take the panel off and test it. And it actually was more drivable. It was comfortable. It was drivable. I'm like, I don't understand how that much air makes a difference, but you're also the same guy that, made me start hanging late model bodies with a fan and a freaking fog machine or something that smoked in the driveway. And I still get made fun of for it.
Why? You're just learning. So, yeah, go on.
I get made fun of from like my rich American friends that actually have access to real wind tunnels.
Oh, so the people tease me that I take RC car racing too seriously, like my winter sport. I take it just as seriously as racing my full scale car when I run in my scaled down cars. I have full wind tunnel in the garage, full wind tunnel, drag meter, smoke machine. I made all the stuff for that. So I put all of my RC cars in the wind tunnel. I don't care what car it is, they'll get run. I have numbers on them all. I absolutely would not say whether I would use a lighter and heat up and manipulate the quarter panels on an RC car or not, but it could happen. Like there's no real huge body rule that way. It just says it has to come out of the bag. So there's no, nothing you can't heat up with a lighter in your thumb that doesn't change some air if you can see it and watch it go around. So if I had access to a real wind tunnel, I'd have my car in it way more than you think.
No, I think the right amount. Other people wouldn't though.
No, fair enough.
Because, like I said, you're one of those guys that really kind of stuck arrow into my head, and people are like, "Oh, the bone stocks don't go fast enough. These don't go fast enough." Until you realize bone stocks are doing 100 kilometers an hour down the straightaway, if not 110. They might be even faster now since I've been in them last. And if you put your hand out the window on the 401, it goes woof, way back. Like, so if you got a floppy hood, it's doing the same thing.
I got into an argument with my dad long time ago about aerodynamics. I don't remember what year, long time ago. And he picked up the Sun newspaper, whatever. We were in the shop together, and he was probably 10 feet away from me. He picked up the Sun newspaper and he rolled it up and he threw it at me. And the paper had fanned out in front of me and didn't hit me or nothing. And it like base fanned out, made a mess, and landed on the floor. And he said to me, he said, "Do you think I throw it 100 miles an hour? How fast was that piece of newspaper going?" And it decided to open itself up and stop before it got to you. And that stuck. That was some dad training that's just in there. And I don't know what inspired him to do that day, but immediately after that, I was like, how hard did he throw the newspaper at me? 30 mile an hour? You know what I mean? Like it wasn't a screaming mad argument. He wasn't trying to murder me with it, but he tossed it at me and it wasn't going that fast. But anyway, that's where I get my aero thoughts from.
Well, also because like your dad, like a lot of people don't know, like your dad is pretty much a legend in himself.
Yeah.
Like I think he has 14 or 15 championships.
Oh my God, I don't even remember. Lots all over the place.
Either way, I knew it was a moment when you finally passed him because I think he was actually at the track for that championship.
Yeah, he was. I do recall the year I tied him for championships, he was pretty excited, and then the year after that, he was over the moon that I beat his record. So that was pretty impressive to see. I think he was more excited than I was, to be honest, that I beat it. And then my dad, I know we talk all the time. He's always tells me how proud he is for what we're doing and bouncing ideas back and forth off him still to this day. And it's just it's a great relationship with my dad, and it's really nice that he's still into it. And it's fun to still have that support and get all that help from him all the time.
But anyway, where I was going with this was a lot of people don't realize your dad is like an airplane mechanic and also like huge into airplanes. And I think that's where the aerodynamics kind of kicks in because like if aerodynamics don't work properly, planes don't fly.
Yeah, no, and his plane's been on in different configuration stuff. His plane's been on the race car scales a bunch of times. He's tried different stuff and weights and balance and moving stuff around, make it fly better, make it climb better. The innovation he jammed in me and the want to do better or whatever in me still is with him in his everyday flying life. And it's pretty cool to see all the different tricks. And he manufactures, so it's Rotac Repair.ca, but also he has plane toys. So he manufactures a bunch of skis and all kinds of stuff like that as well for other people with airplanes. So he's right into the aero of the skis that he makes that go on the bottom of your plane and wheel pants. And it's actually, yeah. So I don't think he's ever gotten out of the whole race car mentality, race car functionality part of life into his career of airplane stuff now.
Yeah, it's just evolved.
Yeah, I tease him all the time now. So like when we all worked at the shop a long time ago, and before I left and went to work on buses and trucks and stuff, and then now I work at Robinson. Before all that went on, he wouldn't work a Saturday to save his life, and now he books. He books 4 days a week and a couple of service calls to some airports to do some inspections and stuff. So he pretty near works 7 days a week. I pick on him all the time. I'm like, listen, man, you're getting old. You're supposed to be retired. Now you're working 7 days a week. But I think he goes by that adage, when you enjoy it, it's not work. So I guess mentally he's there and he's having fun. He's smiling. He's happy. So have at her, Dad, I guess.
So anyway, I thank you for joining me. Before I let you go and we end this, is there anyone else that you'd like to thank for where you are today or that helps you to the track?
Well, I hope I got everybody. I think I did throughout the whole thing, but yeah, no, I think I did, didn't I?
I just mean like crew wise and stuff like that. But
they're not here doing this interview with me. I'm not saying thanks. No, I'm joking. Thanks to Gregory and to Kevin and to Brian. You guys are driving force and doing what we can get done and helping out and always trying to do better. And when we get in the car trailer and have our we call it arguments, but have a discussion what we want to do for adjustment or go back to the book, and they're making notes and all that stuff. And thanks to you guys for all that you do. And Cheryl coming from a whole different world and then jumping into my world and learning horrendous accelerated pace. The rigors and tortures and suffering of being a race car driver's girlfriend, other half, partner, helper, crew person, cleaning person, sticker person, cooking person, trailer cleaning person,
demo cross person.
Yeah, like like the hats that girl has to wear to endure me is amazing. So RC car wife, whatever, all that stuff. So thank you, Cheryl, for what you do and the life you deal with. And I actually got to thank the guys at work too. As crazy as that sounds, like my work support's pretty good. I go into work Monday morning. They always ask. They want my weekend race report. And, sometimes I don't do it on Sunday nights just for a little more suspense and some fun on Monday. And I got a good group that I work with, and they always obviously razz me and all that kind of stuff. And so thanks to those guys as well. I appreciate their support. It's really nice.
All right, so I want you to have yourself a good night, John. I know it's like up late for you, like it's way past your bedtime.
I got another half an hour, buddy. It's only 10 to 10. There's one question that was on there you didn't ask me. The question was, what do I do on my weekends off?
Oh, because that was on mine, and I was actually reading off yours.
Yeah.
So
okay. Yeah. So let me answer that question. I do whatever Cheryl wants to make Cheryl happy. So the real answer to that question is I've taken up kayaking and kayak fishing for my kayak and stuff, and that's been a lot of fun to keep my mind wound down. And when I'm out there all by myself, nobody confuses my thoughts while I'm dreaming up stuff to try on the race car. So it's kind of a fun thing to get away from the race car world, so I can clearly think about the race car world, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So that would be basically what I do on my weekends off. And then obviously in the wintertime, I steal her car and blast over the border or wherever we can find RC car race. And last year, traditionally it's me and Jeremy, and Paul jumped in a bunch. And then last year, Jeremy got busy with other stuff. So then it was me and Paul for most of the winter, went out and crossed the border and did some racing and absolutely had a ball. So that would be what I do on weekends off. But for the most part, the toleration that woman has to deal with the schedule I put on and what I deal with, and my like the time I spend in the garage, my full-time mistress, she ain't never gonna have to worry about me cheating on her with a girl, but if she's counting minutes, the race car's got her smoked. And so she deserves whatever time I got spared to give to her.
Not to mention the fact that you tried to rock the Daisy Dukes camping with her one day.
But those Daisy Dukes are awesome. So I'll be wearing those. Actually, we're back at Emily, I think, soon. Whenever it is. When we go back to Emily Park, I'll be rocking my Daisy Dukes Emily Park. Those are my Hoochie Daddies. And then I got a pair of jeans that are probably 2 sizes too small. So I'm going to see if I can stretch them on and get the whole muffin top thing going on and everything. And then I'll make her walk around beside me and be like, she's with her. I'm with her. I'm with her. I'm with her. And see if we can.
If you do that, you got to have like the tank top tied to the center and everything like that then too.
I'm pretty sure. I think that's probably a must. Yeah. We'll do the Daisy Duke approach, and whatever. She'll be all right with it, I think. And if not, it'd be too late.
Yeah, she's already married you.
She's stuck. So it's non-negotiable now.
Yeah, because the only reason I remember that was Brandon Medic was in today, bringing parts and stuff like that. Apparently, while you were wearing those shorts, he was walking around in a sumo outfit.
Yeah, that was a blast. Just by luck, I ended up bumping into Brandon. I hadn't seen him since I left like 5 years back, because he used to service one of the places I worked at, and I haven't seen him forever. So it's kind of nice. I had lots of good races with Brandon, had a ball with him. And one time he tore up his car one time, and I can't remember. It started glowing the rotors in the heat races or something. I went over and yelled at him. I said, buddy, you need to like fix your brakes on that car. Like, you were faster last week, and now this week you're not fast. And blah, blah, blah. And I was kind of ribbing him a bit, and I was a little upset that his program wasn't where I thought it should be, because he was a good driver. He was fun to race against, and he said he wasn't sure how to do what we were doing. So I ended up straightening all the brake brackets on his car for him, so that I got him to bring it down and straighten all the brake brackets and got it all set nice for him. Showed him how to maintenance calipers and all that stuff. Nobody showed him. He didn't know. And then went back out, and then he was fast again. And then we got to run, side by side again. So kind of a funny story with him in it. But yeah, that was and so it was really neat. I hadn't seen him in years and years. It was nice to see him and hang out, and that was fun. And yeah, I know he definitely made him endure the Hoochie Daddy shorts that weekend. That was kind of, he half inspired it with a sumo costume, and didn't take me much pushing.
Yeah, shenanigans are never far away from the JBJ camp.
No, because if somebody else is doing something to have fun, you might as well have fun. Whatever.
Yeah,
So,
I've seen fishing at Peterborough, slip and slides at Peterborough.
yeah, the biggest bruise I ever got at the racetrack was when I dove into the puddle down the back straightaway. Holy, that was stupid. I've done some things at the track that were probably not smart. And jumping head first into that big slip and slide puddle at the back of the track was stupid. That was a poor decision. Should have worn my helmet.
You'd probably do it again.
If there's not much rain, yeah. Now that I learned how to do it better.
Figured out the aerodynamics to get into the puddle and slide the farthest.
I'm half thinking I'll be the first guy kicked out of Autumn's colors for being out on the pond out back with their kayak, pretending they're fishing during one of the races. That might be kind of a fun thing.
What do you mean pretending? I bet you there's fish in there.
Maybe we need to find out.
Only one way to find out.
Yeah, you don't know it until you try it.
There's just like a 30-pound pike in the back there. Where the hell did this come from?
Just
eating all the mosquitoes.
Yeah, no, that's right. You got to put it back.
Yeah.
Don't take them home. Do what you can for the mosquitoes. They go for bone marrow there. They train the mosquitoes.
Anyway, John, thanks for joining me. Had a blast.
No
had a lot of
problem.
laughs, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, sorry it took 62 episodes for me to finally get on here, but
I knew you were just secretly waiting for episode 63 because you're selfish.
I wanted my number, damn it, no number but mine. But yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on here. This thing's kind of cool. I try my best to watch all your podcasts whenever I can get a chance and just run your channel and have some fun. And it's just neat. It's fun. I like anything we can do to try and help promote the sport, as you said earlier, for like the kids to figure out that this is actually fun and whatever. And the only other thing is I know I'm a big guy and I come off potentially as intimidating, but I'm a fun guy. And if there's anybody out there that ever want to come over and say hi to me and, I don't know, ask me a question, tell me to think I drove like an ass, whatever, come on over. We're like, I believe I'm approachable most times. If the car's up in the air and we're underneath it working on it, obviously I'm probably pretty focused, but for the most part, I've heard before some people say, oh, I was going to say hi, but I didn't, I was intimidated or I was whatever. Don't worry about it. And anybody watching this, if you're coming to the racetrack, specifically Peterborough Speedway, traditionally when the races are over at the end of the night, they shut the gate that takes you from the spectator side into the pits. If you wait till all the cars stop running and go into tech, they open that gate again. So you as a spectator could walk from safely, carefully, walk from the grandstands over to the pit area, cruise up through. 99% of the guys in there love you to come to their car, love to see you, want to meet you. If you are cheering for that guy, whatever, go tell them. Go up, stand by the driver's door of the guy's car and stand there for a second. Whoever that guy is, whatever team they are, somebody right away will realize you're there and potentially ask you if you want to sit in their car, grab a picture. They might have like the autograph cards they hand out during the regular summer. They probably have some autograph cards. They're all, every guy driving a race car and girl, every person driving a race car as a kid, they remember being on the other side. They remember being that kid. So, if you're watching this and you're in the spectator part of it and you got kids with you or even adult, whatever, just get down there, go look at your favorite driver, go say hi. Make that guy's night, because you will, I promise.
It's the same perspective of another place that me and you kind of said of something as small as going to the gas station and the kids are like, what's in there? And then you unload the race cart. And sure, it takes 30 minutes sometimes to unload these modifieds and stuff like that, but it's worth it.
I have unloaded my race car more than a half a dozen times out of gas station, side of the road or whatever, to show people. And I'd do it again tomorrow, because that you never know, man. That kid that was in that car that was looking at the race car could be driving a junior late model next year. You know what I mean? He could be, he's the next you. He's the next me. You know what I mean? But who knows? Let's do it. Let's see what we can do.
And there's so many avenues into racing. That's kind of, this year I've kind of exploited that with being off. Like, you got the photography aspect. You could be a track official. You could be a race car driver. You could be like an announcer, social media and stuff like that. Like, there's so many aspects that you can get into racing. Like, even like even if like maybe you're not good hands-on on cars, like the actual cars don't interest you, but like you like having the engagement of like the social media. Like, there's so many things you could do to be part of racing. It's really good for almost everybody.
I like take Gregory, for instance, one of my crew guys. So like, Kevin's a car guy. Brian's been a car guy. He's been a racer, whatever. Gregory, way back then was a plumber and was helping Bishop. Just just met on a job site, come out of the track, and he is a key part of my team, and he has had a race car after crewing for Dave and then myself for a while. He's had his own race car for a year. It wasn't his thing. He'd rather be crewing than driving himself, which was better for me in the long run because I got my crew guy back. And then he comes back out. So if it wasn't for their conversation at lunchtime on a job site 20 years ago, I wouldn't have had a long-time crew guy. That's awesome. And he's learned a ton being on from Dave's team and then to my team. Learned a ton, helps out all the time, enjoys what he's doing. So if you befriend the guys around you. If you come to the track, just check them out. Everybody's human. Everybody's having fun. It's fun. Everybody's trying to have fun. That's all. I don't know, man. So not to bring up the worst thing that happened in history, the COVID deal. The one thing COVID taught me that I didn't know before, I potentially could have been considered a cocky ass at some point in times, and I probably didn't respect people around me in life for how quick it moves and what's going on. COVID taught me to appreciate a lot of the things, people, space, time, meeting different people, all that stuff. And so I've been doing my best since I learned that on my own to try and pass that on to other people.
I think COVID was kind of a lot of things that you kind of realize we don't have it as good as we thought before COVID, because it was kind of like things can get real really fast and it was just one of those things that's like, all right, you don't know how many days you got left. You don't know how many days everyone else has left. And it's just, you got to enjoy being here. And
shoot your shot, make your life, however you word it, whatever you want, whatever the new modern kids are saying nowadays. Something off TikTok is relative here, I guess, whatever. But that's all. All I'm saying is go. If you see your favorite race car driver, anybody watching this, tell them that. Tell them you cheer for them, you like their number, you like the color of the car, whatever. It's cool. We love it. I love it. I'm sure everybody else loves it just as much as me. And there's guys that I don't traditionally talk to at the racetrack, and kids go walking by their car and they're jumping the kids up, throwing them in their car. They're, doing all the same stuff we're doing wherever we're going. So I think that is to me is huge for the sport, huge for the people and for the drivers.
And honestly, the weirdest thing is, like, I've never been as popular as like you or like some other drivers and stuff like that. But like just the amount of people be like, "Where's your car this year?" Like, and not even like conversations at the track. You'll be at like Walmart and people will be like, "Where's your car this year?" I'm like, "Who are you?" Like, and it's like, it's just one of those things that's like I go through Tim Hortons every day to get my ice caps, right? Yeah. The lady that serves me at Tim Hortons every morning is like, "Why aren't you driving? Like, we miss you driving." It's like, you don't realize the what we do for fun in our hobby impacts so many people's lives that you don't even realize. And it just, you don't realize that I've driven for 10 years as of this year, which for racing isn't a long time at all. Like it's a fair amount, but like you don't realize that the small little cycles that go in place to be like, all right, well, the lady that's serving me coffee that's across the road goes to Peterborough Speedway every week and watches me. Like, they followed my progress from like bone stocks all the way to late models, modified, and like it's cool to sit back and look on it in the long run, right?
So, like I said earlier, same thing for me. So, like some of these guys that are driving around there, like Brant Graham. I remember when Brant Graham was brand new. Dylan Wills, my boy, like Rocky. Like I just, you see these guys around the track. These were like, little kid. They were kids. I was a kid. They were kids. Now they're adults. They got their own. That stuff's just wicked. You see what they're doing and pay attention to what they got going on, and I don't know, it's just cool. Like I said, my whole thing is just, if you see somebody, if you're even driver to driver, good Lord, if you like the sticker package on some other guy's car, don't be afraid to tell them. Let them know. Like, whatever. If somebody's got an issue with it, you're just giving them a compliment. If they can't take a compliment, that's their problem.
And here's the thing is, most people, like, you think about one of the fastest guys at Peterborough is Dan McCadden.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Great guy.
He literally, the week before he won the APC race, was like, I have no problem telling people what I'm doing. It will help. He helps everybody out, just like you. And it's just, Dan is the kind of guy that'll take parts off of his car just so you could run, or he'll put your broken part on just to prove a point. Be like, it's not necessarily the part. I can whoop your butt with your broken part on my right front. But it's like he's also at the same time, he understands the entertainment value for the fans and all this stuff are affecting, right?
I've been at an impasse more than one time at the racetrack, and my dad's not there. Me and Kevin and Greg are not really getting any progress on any ideas. I've gone down to Dan and explained to him where I'm at and asked him a question, and he's gives me valuable information. He'll pick a side, whether he thinks what they want to do, what I want to do, whatever. I explained to him whatever, and he's been nothing but great to me anytime I ever dealt with him. So, and like you're right, he's fast. He's fast, fun to watch. So
he's always entertaining. Like I don't know if this is something you learned from the Kawartha days as well. Is not only are you racing, but you are entertaining, and it was don't affect the show. So like don't stink up the show. Don't like you know what I mean.
yeah,
And I find most of those Kawartha guys have that same mentality of we have to put on a show. And the first time I got to race Dan in an actual competitive late model,
yeah,
we raced door to door for like 10 laps. I'm like, I went over to him after. I'm like, I am not that quick to hang on your outside for 10 laps. He goes, no, but the fans loved it. He goes, I knew what time I could pull away from you. He goes, you cleared me once, but I'm like, I had to start pushing then. But I'm like, I wish you didn't.
But look at the education that he gave you by putting you on the top side, on the outside of a guy you can trust with every drop of your car, for you to go do everything you can do and try and learn what you need to learn in that car, in that series beside him, to try and to trust that he's not driving on the curb. He's using a fair lane, but he's not pinching the wall. He's giving you room, and he's you know what I mean? The education you got in those 10 laps, other people could take a half a year to even try and build that up. So he's, you know what I mean? That's ambassador for the sport. He's trying to help you out.
What's that? He's helping me out. He's putting on a show for the fans, because the fans don't know that he's running hard, but he's not walking away with it and being boring, right? Because I was still pretty new to late models at the time, and I was still trying to figure out how not to spin the car out when I entered 3, rolling in.
Yeah.
That was also the same day we had the conversation of why'd you hit him so hard?
Yeah. Yeah. You don't realize the closing rate.
Yeah. Especially honestly, the best thing I think you ever taught me was don't always buy a super fast car right away. When I asked you which car I should buy and you pointed at the bus, it's a good car, it's a proven car, but you have to earn it. And
I felt that for where you were at that point in time, I thought that was probably your best option. It was a good price. It was a good car, a well-built car, and it was a turnkey, go drive it and go get some experience. And yeah, you're right. It wasn't the brand newest technology, whatever, but at the same token, it was something that you could work on and deal with. And you know what I mean? I know you do all your stuff in the driveway, and for the most part, do all your stuff in the driveway, and that's where you got to do your maintenance and stuff. So you don't need a car that needs, 40 hours a week service or 20 hours a week service, whatever, to go out and start to learn, figure out if that's what you wanted to do or not. So that was, I thought it was a great choice then.
But at the same time, I feel that I learned so many lessons of car control, and that same thing you were talking about with momentum with the Honda, and the amount of time I talked to you once I moved to V8 about how to set a pass and the art of actually doing a pass. And it's we make this joke of because you were switched to the mods that time, because I actually bought a Thunder car to race you.
Yeah, I know. I messed up the plans.
But it was just timing. You were trying something new, and I was trying something new, and it's at that time there was no way I'd be on the same lap as you, right? I was first rear-wheel drive car, and it was just. But anyway, that car taught me so much and I still love to this day bringing underdog cars out and trying to get the best out of them. This year with racing with CGC, we had the Honda there, was 500 pounds overweight. They'd never got a podium or with it or nothing like that. To be the guy that gets that car to the podium for the first time, that team being that's what that beats me having a good car and getting a win. It's I was supposed to do that.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. Yeah.
If you jumped in a bone stock that runs backpack and they can't figure the car out, and all of a sudden you run top 5 with it, and this team now has information and is ecstatic because you got say 5th in a car, that means more, I think, to me nowadays, of be I don't want to say toot my own horn, because it's you get to say, hey, that's what I can bring to the table as a driver. Like, you get
Yeah.
more out of the equipment. Like, being
Well,
fast in
yeah.
a fast car is expected. Being fast in the car that's hardly held together.
Yeah, true. I tell you though, there's a lot of pressure comes on when you're at the front all the time too, to continually perform. So there's a lot on that. A lot comes on that also. There's hidden pressure in there.
I'm not saying that there isn't pressure, but I'm just saying that's where I kind of have the fun
Yeah.
and enjoyment of, like, it's same as like doing the couple charity races this year. Like, I went into this year of the same thing as I don't want to drive this year because trying to like not have the itch and bring the mod out when I can't afford it and other bills have to be
Yeah.
paid and stuff like that. So I said if I was going to do it, it was going to be for charity and raising. I think we put almost $2,000 into 2 charities this season,
Yeah.
and we got to have some fun, race, meet some new people, and like honestly, racing at full throttle in Tolton's car, and like we had a couple issues, like the ball joint was popping out of the control arm because it was a cheap stock replacement control arm, not meant to be going around the racetrack.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about with the
Yeah.
some parts aren't made as tight of tolerances as they should be.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So like
We push a lot of stuff to its max. Yeah.
so we got the welder out. I welded in on the angle I thought was best for what I was doing the day. And we ran that car, I think, top 3 for the second feature for most of it until a couple late race restarts and somebody forgot not to shift starts. And yeah, I dropped back to like 5th or 6th, but like,
So it's nothing to be ashamed of. Being out. Like that's I don't know the right way to word it, but like a lot of the guys that run, the 10th or better. Well, I guess so. Say for me, because we're not at 10 cars right now, unfortunately, but 5th or better all the time. That's your 5th or better. Like take it for what it is. It's pretty good. Like our last night out, I thought our car was on point. I enjoyed it. The lap times looked good. The car was fun to drive. I finished 4th. I left the track tickle pink. That was a great 4th. Like you're right. It would have been it would have been a more gooder 1st, but it was a great 4th. Like how do you?
eh.
I don't know what else to say. Like it just the I don't know. Just it was a good run. I was happy. I was happy with 4th. I guess some people might be upset, or the fact that we normally, this year we've had a great banner year, and we've been in the top 1, 2 to end up 4th. It's like, oh man, you finished 4th, but then the opposite is no, man, we finished 4th. Like that was a good run. Like I'm not the only one working on my car. There's other guys working on their car every week too. Like I don't know. I just like I said I just find when some people spectator wise or whatever, they get kind of used to where everybody finished and they kind of got it all figured out, and they sometimes razz you a little teeny bit about where you finished. Where like 4th was pretty good.
Yeah. Well, and like I was saying, like when I got 5th there, it's like that's only the second time I've been to that track, and it's like it's just one of those things. I'm like, it's like you said, if you came back to bone stock or main stock nowadays, you need a few days to like get back used to a car before you get the results kind of where you think they should be. It's like, but it's just fun. You get a whole new group of drivers that you'd never driven against before, and finding out how to race certain people because everyone races differently.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the hardest thing in a pack of 20 cars.
Yeah.
Or like bone stocks, like Delaware having like 50 cars a night.
True.
You have to know everyone's tendencies of like how they drive, and like sometimes it takes.
I told you that in your beginning. Pattern the cars that run the same speed that you're running. So when you remember you started, I said, go out there and practice. Let the fast cars go by you. Find the cars that are running about your speed and start to pattern them right away because they're the cars you're going to be running against while you're learning. And figure out what they do. Find the guys that go in high or go in crooked or pump the brakes in the middle of the corner. You can find it pretty quick. Remember, I told you all that. And then put that, lock it in because come feature time, you're going to be with those guys. You're probably going to end up running them the whole night, that group, that pack. And then as you progress, obviously it changes because you're going to progress to other drivers and or the opposite. They're going to progress away from you. But I remember that was one of my biggest things that I told you right away. Use that practice, not just to drive laps, but to start to learn your fellow racers. So I hold that true to everybody. Can you imagine what it's going to be like in 10 years when you take like Kuzno and stick him from his junior into a V8 real drive car? Like he's smooth. He seems to make good choices right now. He's very young in his career, and then you're going to stick him into a car like against me one day. Like, well, hopefully I'm still running that, but you know what I mean. Like, do you know what that's going to be like? Like, not only did he cut his teeth learning, I don't know what he did before this. I'd never seen him race, but not only did he cut his teeth on the same track that he's going to be running on, he cut his teeth on a purely momentum based car. That is going to be tough. Like, and not just, and I shouldn't have just picked one name. I should say all the guys, but like guys and girls, all the kids that are coming up through that. I'll say all of them because I don't want to, sorry, I didn't mean to pick names, but can you imagine what that's going to be like in 10 years or 8 years or whatever, whatever the progression rate they end up with? That's going to be awesome. Like the spectators are going to reap the benefits of that hard because those guys are like, they're going to come out, guys and girls, they're going to come out and be momentum competitive immediately and now have more horsepower, more pedal to deal with. Like, I don't know.
Well,
I think it's going to be neat.
And this brings it down to the whole thing I wanted to focus on when me and you like started becoming friends was learning how you set like passes and stuff up and like certain tricks and like a lot of people I know probably talk to the fast people about, hey, where do I find more speed in the car? And I didn't really care about like I cared about speed, but I wanted to know how to position cars where and when and like how to make things happen behind the wheel and what I could like the fact that these kids are already getting to learn. All right, if this car's here, I have to move here and do this and like change angles. And it's like if they get that figured out and transferred over, it's gonna be a whole new age of racing.
This is what I'm saying. That's why in the beginning, like I said, one night I was frustrated, and I don't know. I support the whole deal. I think it's cool, and they are gonna just watch out. Like some of the guys are racing against, like Alex Kazilla, for instance. He comes from the go-kart world, jumps into a modified car, and instantly awesome. Well, it's all that. It's momentum. It's experience. He's already, you know, I mean, what took me 5 years to learn as driving a full-size car. That I don't want to call him a kid. He's growing up now, but as a younger adult, he learned that before he got to me, and then he jumped into the. I don't want to call them the wrong name, but the ones with the snowmobile motors. He jumped into those, the midgets, outlaw midget, or whatever the right name is. Jumped into that thing, and then he comes out of that into this oatmeal car. Like, yeehaw! Like, you know what I mean? I see way more of that. I mean, whatever division these guys end up in, hopefully with mods. Any of you guys in junior league model, I want you to inspire to end up with a modified car, specifically a mass modified car. I'm just saying, sales pitch. Anyway,
even like a guy like Sean Kennedy, who's been in bone stocks coming from karting,
yeah,
that guy is one of the smoothest, most consistent bone stock racers ever, and that comes 100%. From karting.
That's what I'm getting at. Like, I'm just saying, like these guys, they learn. That's what I mean. So the people that I've seen come from the karting world are usually a lot of fun to race with right away. Except a lot of them turn right before they turn left. I've never figured that one out. It must be something you have to do to upset the cart to lighten the left rear. Anyway, that one I don't get. But they learn away from that after a while. But for the most part, the momentum part of it and whatever. Now these guys, the new junior late model people and junior pro late model, they're learning this on the same track that hopefully they're going to race on for a long time. So I think it's cool.
So as we get sidetracked for like 600th time.
Yeah, you got to go now because it's 10:20. I got 10 more minutes. It's a weeknight. I'm going to turn into a pumpkin.
Well, at least it's still orange.
Yeah, orange pumpkin. We're doing pretty good. Anyway, I apologize. I couldn't find your shirt. It's in the laundry. I wore it on the weekend. And appreciate you getting me on here. Total blast. If you want to do this again, the episode, whatever, I'm cool with that. Any other fan questions come up, I'm pretty politically correct, and I'm a mature adult. I harbor no ill feelings towards anybody of my past. Some situations, once you try and figure out from both sides, we're good to go. So
I'll give you most of it, but mature is a stretch.
Oh my God. So listen, I make money every week. If I want to buy cookies and RC car parts and race car parts with it, I will. That's a mature decision. I don't eat chocolate cake for breakfast. Like, I know as an adult, I'm supposed to wait until at least 10 o'clock. Come on, I got to figure it out.
Well, sometimes. There's special occasions where chocolate cake for breakfast isn't a good idea.
I was like back in the day before when you were around all the time and we did all those brownies and stuff. But when it was 6 o'clock in the morning, we hadn't gone to bed yet. Technically, it's not morning. You're allowed to eat a brownie at 6 o'clock in the morning if you're still up.
Yeah, that's when we're fixing cars. I'll be like, what did I break here? Because that was honestly, and Anyway, like I said, I'll let you go before it's both our bedtimes, and
Yeah.
I still got to edit this all up and stuff like that. But
All right, buddy.
we're gonna give you one final send off.
All right. Cut out any of the parts I seem stupid or chattery or whatever. Take that away from me. Fix me up. Make me look as good as you can.
You always look as good as you can.
Thanks, brother. Don't worry. I know you would have said yes if Cheryl said no, so we're good. That's it. I'm out of here. Shut me off. That was the last comment I got for you, buddy.